So, welcome to the next, and as I said in the announcement, final DAS Champions League Preliminations stream. As you could saw in the announcement, we have a ton of matches coming up today. It is 3 here in the DAS Champions League Prelims, and then of course also the DAS Europa League Prelims. Meaning in total we aim for 5 matches today. The schedule is 5 hours essentially, so it's gonna be a long stream. There's a high chance that we will have some matches finished before that, so maybe it will only be a 4-hour stream or so, but still it's gonna be a really long stream of hopefully a lot of amazing matches here, as we have, you saw in the announcement. First up we have Yelena versus Hufflepuff, I believe, also known as Curi here currently on Discord. So as I said, just a ton of Tetris here. I'm currently waiting for our second player, who's not Yelena, to be online. Maybe I'm just not seeing them, because as you know, I know nobody's Twitch channel, so I always depend on finding them here. Also not added, okay. So I guess in the meantime we can take a look at the intro movie. Is it an intro movie? I guess I can call it an intro movie. That makes sense. Was it a movie? Was it something else? Not fully sure. Anyways, enjoy the intermission. And with that, we are pretty much ready. As you know, there's the standard rule set. We are currently... Well, there's a small change, because we are now in the preliminations. So the known best of 6 no longer applies. We are now up to a best of 7, meaning you need to win 4 games to win the match and then to be part of the DAS Champions League, because we are in, as I said, in the preliminations, which means essentially that if you lose here, you are no longer in the DAS Champions League, you will be playing in the DAS Europa League, which at least for some people is going to be a big reason to try to play as well as they can manage, because you know many players don't want to be in the let's call that the lower league, partly because here in the DAS Champions League we have our prize pool, which you can also always find at !Matcherino. Not sure if the link is properly updated. Actually, let me check if the link is updated. I believe it's not for this season. Yeah, it's not for this season. But that means we can update it for... Well, you can still donate, essentially. But just good to know from my side. And yeah, also welcome to the chat, RXS. I'm probably gonna call you like RX, something like that. Yeah, let's take a look at least Yelena now playing. Because... Oh, I made 2 small mistakes. Because first of all, I put, instead of 0, I put the German SZ kind of thing, and I forgot to update the flags. No! Yelena is from Spain, which I believe God, which one was Spain again? It's not SP, was it SA? It's something S for sure. Or was it ES for Espanol? It was ES for Espanol, I believe. Yeah, so we are now properly prepared, as we have on the left side Yelena, who is in the chat. We also have on the right side then Curi, and we also have the next coming players here in the chat, being Jedi, I saw X, yes, from Spain. I know, we talked a lot at the CGWC DAS events. Live on... Oh... Okay. And that is not a channel I would have found, so let's do this, and bam. Saying live on the channel is offline. Such an alpha move, of course. Weisbrot in the chat saying, let's go Yelena. And also let's pin the base seed for this match today. The base seed for this match is B4 BADO. Curi. Oh, thanks, Weisbrot, for... I guess I made a mistake there. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, it's cool, Leo. I was like, oh, yeah, Leo. Thanks for telling me, Weisbrot. And yeah. Yeah, saying, I'm trying just not to early top out. I'm nervous. Honestly, you are a good player. You shouldn't have to be that nervous. I'm just gonna refresh Curi here a bit, because I either having troubles or I misspell. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I was like, oh yeah, I'm live on, and then no. But now it's more or less looking good. I'm saying more or less, because Curi, keep in mind that you need to show us your hand cam. We need to be able to see your hands in order to, you know, make sure that you play proper DAS. We need the, what was it again? Hertz input, Hertz display, input display, and your hand cam. So I hope that you can manage that nicely. Just doing the webcam fully away, and so that we can see this amazing image. But no, in reality they are getting, I assume, setting up the hand cam here, so that we can have the proper rule set. As I said, hopefully an amazing match between Yelena and Curi. Yelena, of course, our Euro player, which is... I mean, we're not in the Europa League, but there's always the DAS in Europe kinda similarity to me, just because here in Europe DAS, at least in the past, was much more common when rolling took over, because, you know, PAL was still a thing, and many PAL players just are DAS mains. But yeah, no, in reality, a lot of American players also amazing at DAS, as we have seen in the past over and over again. So let's see what Yelena and Curi can show us in this match here. They of course also have played against each other in the past. And if you talk about their current track record here, not really much to talk about, honestly, because I believe it's their first match here in the pre-eliminations. Oh, and Curi has now the hand cam, well, full body cam set up properly, so that we can start the match whenever the players here are ready. Of course, we do 18 other ways, which means you have to play 18 speed, you can't go to 15 speeds. And I would assume that these players here are capable of playing proper 18 and 19 speeds. I mean, we saw Curi warm up on level 29, so 18 and 19 shouldn't be an issue at all here for him. Yelena told us that she hopes not to top out early, but based on what I've seen her do in comp in other events, I would say that she should be pretty safe for early top outs at least. And both players are ready. So let's start the first game between these two here in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. We also have the Godaka funds and a smiling emoji in the chat. which you know is the standard good sportsmanship. And yeah, hand cam, webcams and everything looks good to me. And welcome in the chat, Giovanni, Joji. Far too many ways to call you. Yeah, as you can see, yesterday we had the PAL Dash Tetris. Oh, small misflips here of that J piece for Curi. This is gonna be a bit of digging out now for him. Should not be much of an issue. I mean, the right well is now where he needs to dig. It's getting low. So yeah, it looks like Curi should be able to get clean without big issues here. Yelena also had to burn quite a lot here, which we can see in the points. Despite Curi being in that big mess, Yelena only now got her second Tetris, and Curi is also now waiting for the second Tetris. What I wanted to say is, yesterday I casted a bit of PAL Dash Tetris, so the kinda PAL equivalent of Dash Champions League, and was a ton of fun. We had 2 matches over there, and now we have most likely 5 matches over here. And yeah, it's now 87 for Yelena against 77 here for Curi, so it is still neck and neck here in the beginning. We can see that Curi is a bit high, but got the long one Tetris here. Yelena is going for the center well, is a bit behind in the P sequence, which means she now got the long bar, not a Tetris, but was able to fill in the long bar dependency, and is now Tetris ready, has this small overhang here. Gets the long bar, and most likely taking the double. Yeah, nice W now for Yelena. Into 1, now 16 against the 170 from Curi, and Curi is just typing something, getting water, having tech issues. Okay, what the heck is going on there? We can only see the input display, no longer the webcam. What the heck? Let's see what he will be doing here. I would at this point say, please top out and we will just replay the game, because we no longer have your hand cam shown and stuff like that. And you're also making misdrops due to whatever is going on your side. Yeah. About what we currently see, this is kind of the downside, of course, of online events, because, you know, we depend on player tech, and there might be small issues due to that. Corina going for the center way, but honestly, we haven't seen your hand cam and everything like that. Technically, this is now a game most likely for Yelena if she gets the next long band Tetris. Yeah, here's now the Tetris to Yelena. So Yelena, you have won the game by that logic. And yes, please top out Yelena, because feel free to top out, you have won the game. But Curi, what's going on your side? We haven't seen your game, no, your webcam or handcam here. Oh, Curi got a phone call mid-game. I would say we replay the game. Okay, that makes sense. So, to be fair, you said, yeah, I said top up before Curi top up much before that. So I would say we will replay this game because of this unexpected call and the camera issue. But Curi, please make sure that you can play properly from now on. I don't want more games where we have this happen. So we will just replay the game, because as Weiswood said, I said top out before the actual top out. No, we will just increment the first 2 characters of the seeds. So instead of, what was it before, we will now play C5. So it's gonna be C5, BA, DO. And once again, no web handcam from Curi. 1 second, okay. Because sometimes can be so important that you just have to quit whatever you are doing, kinda. I don't know what's the case for him, but if you have, in German it's called like Bereitschaftsdienst, it's when you need to be available all the time for something, then yes, those situations can happen. I don't know what it was for him. He said that it should be fine now. It also looks like we now have a different camera, so that he no longer has to use whatever he used before. And whenever we are ready for the next game, we can start the next game here. My phone was tweaking, so I had to change it. Okay, yeah. Shouldn't turn off now. Okay, perfect. That sounds good to me. So let's hope that we will get a proper hand cam and everything now in the actual first game, being C5 in a 3, 2, 1 Tetris. And of course, if this does happen again, the unexpected call, I'm not gonna be kind enough most likely to say let's just replay the game, because in my opinion, you know, players need to be prepared enough to be able to focus on playing and to not have many interruptions. One like this was fine to me because, you know, it just looked like there was something happening unexpected, but I hope that now this won't happen again. We have the first Tetris to both players. We have 22 for Yelena, we have 45 for Curi, so both players getting 2 Tetrises here. Yelena needing to burn a bit here now, sets up for the dirty Tetris. In my opinion, what you should do in this situation, it's a center 1 high, so not a tough board to play. Yeah, we can see the Tetris here now. Curi also being a bit high, getting the long bar, gets the long bar over, Tetris to Curi, and one more here for Curi. Triple here now for Yelena as she's trying to clean this stack up a bit. So, a pretty good start here, the first 10 lines or so for both players. Now we have a bit of cleanup here on Yelena's side, which means that Curi should be able to get a lead here. Yeah, we can see that now. It is 101 against 136, which means we have about a 1.5 Tetris lead here now for Curi. Something that Yelena can catch up to, of course, over the next 100 lines of 18, then 100 lines of 19. And honestly, 29, it might be 2 or 3 lines, but nothing noteworthy. There's not really anyone with Desi in the Des Champions League who we can expect to get more than maybe a couple of lines on level 29. The world record 29 start is like 45 lines, but you are pretty much guaranteed to not get that in a comp game. That, you know, a couple of lines, in theory possible, in reality does depend on a ton of factors like your board before the game, the pieces you get, your nerfs, and many more. Here we can see on Curi's side, amazing start so far, misses the T-spin though, so this is now a bit of a troublesome situation. Gets the pieces to clean out of this. Now LJ dependency set up, gets the long bar, next LJ dependency formed with that, gets the incorrect J piece, here now the correct J piece, wants one more, for example, T piece that he's now getting, gets the T piece, and now taking, he doesn't take the safety triple, he now takes the safety triple, good, so the board is now a bit lower than before, gets one more long bar and Tetris to Curi. It is 228 for Yelena against 264 for Curi. Next Tetris getting to Curi. And we can now see the 229 against 289 here. Both players ready for a Tetris, but small early shift here on Curi's side, which means there's gonna be a bit of cleanup to do. Shouldn't be the worst cleanup, but we can see the pieces not the kindest. They were for a bit, but now open, perfectly set up, gets the Tetris readiness and the long bar. Tetris to Curi, Tetris to Yelena, 300 for Yelena, 318 for Curi, so it is neck and neck between these two players, as we are a bit over halfway through level 18 here. Okay, Yelena taking a couple of safety burns here, setting up for the late LJ dependency burn now, gets the L piece. Curi also a bit high, gets a long bar. Tetris to Curi, Tetris to Yelena. They are like 2 pieces apart. We get the next Tetris for Curi and the next Tetris for Yelena as well. 353, 366. So yeah, the amazing start from Curi, where he was at like 250 at 50 lines. Wasn't able to keep up that pace. But he also didn't fall behind Yelena so far. Okay, he decided, or like adjusted the long bar not to go fully to the left, because he thought that he gets the L piece next, and therefore was able to do a nice adjustment here. Yelena going for a center well transfer, gets the standard well now, using this Tetris. 4-1 against 412. Yelena having played a couple of lines more, so on pace it's around about a 1 Tetris lead here for Curi, who also now needs to burn a couple of lines. So yeah, now Yelena getting the next Tetris here, and So we can see 425, 459. The Tetris lead here is now for Curi. Next Tetris to Yelena. Curi is setting up here. I mean, so far we have seen good games here from these players. Mostly good desk control, not, you know, misshifts, not really seen, haven't really seen any double flips. So it looks like we are set up for a nice match here as we are approaching the transition in around about 20 lines. Yelena a bit of a tough board getting the incorrect LPs here, so now taking the burns. Again, less than 20 lines for the transition. So Yelena's gonna have a bit of a tough transition potentially here, depending on the next pieces, and she needs to get lower because this side is pretty much deadly at level 19 speeds. Curi in the meantime at the bottom of the stack, so we can see some clean gameplay on his side. Yelena over here is now mostly clean again, getting the Tetris here. 583 transition on Curi's side and 491 transition here on Yelena's side. Yelena fell behind quite a lot here in the past 20 lines or so, but managed to get into the transition, where we know that many things can still happen. We have about 100 lines, or like 90 lines now left to go on 19 speed. Both players, I would say, having not big issues here in the transition. Curi now needing to dig a bit, gets longer, gets a Tetris here into 637. Yelena also burned quite a lot here, but you know, rather get a safer 19 transition than topping out. Okay, we get the next Tetris here to Curi. Yelena wasn't really able to get many points here on 19 speed so far, whereas Curi got a couple of Tetrises here, which has widened the lead from around about 100,000 points to 140, which is like 6-7 Tetrises. But now Curi needs the quick tap, does get the quick tap for the long bar. Perfect burns, but he didn't get the OPs over after a small death loss here, which means this is going to be a tough situation for Curi to burn. Okay, he gets the double burn here now. Okay, a bit flatter, gets the next LPs over. Perfect. Okay, so Curi is now out of the fully danger zone. Still not safe, still pretty high here. Gets one more long bar and is, yeah, slowly but surely burning down, showing us his 19 survival skills. But the pieces, he does get the OPs over. Perfect. Also this long bar, exactly what he needed. Okay, was open for some Tetris action. He is open again, gets long bar and Tetris to Curi into 724. Against Yelena at 599, who also has a couple of issues here in her stack, gets next long bar, is much lower than Curi was before, so this should not be a big issue in that area here. Yanis Bloxy is saying WTF. That was amazingly well played here by Curi. The pretty long dig here, showing us what his 19 survival skills, his digging skills, and then now some, yeah, scoring skills. So out of the good 19 stuff, Yelena gets long bar over. Ooh. Okay, that was pretty tight here for Yelena, the long bar. But we can now see that she is only having a small hole in the stack, so not quite in a scoring position. And not, yeah, therefore not in a position where she can catch up to Curi. It's now a 180,000 point difference here. 664 against 844. So huge lead for Curi, who now needs to burn a couple of lines. But honestly, at this point, if you don't want to go for the max out, which is possible, I mean, you would need more or less perfect play, but it's possible. Then just play safe, because you have like a 200k lead, and it's pretty much guaranteed that Yelena can't catch that up unless she's showing us some amazing level 19 action here. And here's one more Tetris left for Curi. Could try to set up for transition Tetris, like into level 29 Tetris. Not possible. Here tops out at 956, and Yelena also can get one more Tetris here, which would put her at 815 around that. Gets the triple here into 791, which means Curi wins this, and we have a now 1-0 for Curi here. And this is exactly why we love There's Tetris. oftentimes just really close between these players and everything, as Boxy is saying, what a game. Curi is saying, Loki unsure survived that on 22. Yeah, that was... I don't know what you did, or like how you did that. I just know that you played amazingly well, which allowed you to win the first game here. It is 1-0. A small note for Boxy, we replayed the first game, like actually before this one, because Curi got an unexpected call, we had some webcam issues, and then I was like, yeah, let's just replay this game here. Just some information, because you're the main organizer. Again, we increment the first 2 characters, so the C5 is D6 exactly. Someone clip that, please. We have to clip that. Someone in chat, make sure to clip that. And we now can start the second game here in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Curi also asking, is this best of 5 or best of 7? Officially, it's a best of 7, which means you only have won the first of 4 games you need to win. Of course, if you have won 3 games and your opponent surrenders, it would pretty much be a best of 5 at that point. Small miss drop here of that JB is on Curi's side, so Yelena should be able to get a lead here depending on what pieces fall down. As Curi is in a quite long situation now to clean this up. A piece doesn't go fully over, next piece goes over to the left. Okay, so Curi is getting into now a mostly open up position. One more line here, and finally the first set is also for Yelena. This took a really long time, and Curi, despite his long cleanup here again, able to stay ahead, as we have 38 for Yelena against 55 for Curi. And of course Yelena just had to get that Tetris here when I said her score. So it's a bit out of date, but the general idea, it's neck and neck, and a 3/4 of a Tetris lead here for Curi. But Curi is now cleaning this up, needs one more long bar here, gets the J piece, nice. Now a couple of safety burns, of course, as always. Is now open, but we can see the small hole and the shadow L piece effectively. So yeah, Curi is cleaning up a bit, which has allowed Yelena to get a small lead here now. Yelena at 115 against 94 for Curi. So about a Tetris lead now for Yelena here, as Curi sets up for the Dirty Tetris, gets the Dirty Tetris, and is 117 against 118. You know, we have a bit of a comma phase, as both players have clean boards. Not really that much to talk about, except that Curi is now, as I said, clean boards, needing to clean up once again. It's only 2 lines, he could try to go for a triple, but decided to just take the double here. Next set is to Yelena, Curi getting a bit higher here. Needs something for the left side. Let's see if he can get one more J piece. Gets the T piece, not quite what he wanted. The blue S piece here, quite nice. Gets the next long bar, getting it over. And we can see here that Curi is not getting the long bar over, which means this will result in an early top out for Curi. And with that, we have a 1-2-1. Yelena has managed to survive a bit longer, and Curi is saying, used my one good game already. To be fair, you need 4 good games, but you need 4 games that are better than your opponent's game. Ah, okay, so that's also the proper bracket for the prelims, perfect. Is it? It's the table? Because I wasn't able to find the preliminations in here. Maybe I'm incorrect. The updated bracket is there, yeah? Okay, perfect. See, it wasn't the best, but I made a lot of mistakes. It's always both, in my opinion. Okay, so let's start the next game, when Yelena has finished drinking. And of course, Curi as well. And I should probably drink a bit as well. So let's do 3, 2, one Tetris. What is saying is stage 2 preliminary round, stage 0 record. No, that's not it. Honestly, I don't see what you mean here. Because it's still the League Fest and everything from the last season, based on what I see. It's the first... The first is the... Oh, it's here. Oh, it's so confusing. Yeah, now I saw it. Okay, thank you. Which means I can do some quick updating here. While we are still in the save phases here of the matches. And we can see the next Tetris here to Curi in 78,000 points. And thanks Boxy for pointing me towards the proper link. I wasn't able to find because it looked like it was the same as the last season to me. But yeah, it's looking good now. Which means I was able to implement the standing bracket stuff into my scenes. That link will be used for season 2. Okay, perfect. Now I know I can properly find this. And let's focus back on the match here as we are now approaching the 50 line mark. Curi once again having a pretty good game here. You can see the 217 for Curi against a 120 from Yelena. Yeah, Curi again having a good game here. Yelena having pretty much of a suffer start, not really able to getting anything done point wise in our third game here. Quite high now, has an LJ dependency, now down to a J dependency, doesn't get the JPs in time, which means an L dependency on the right side. LPs also takes a lot of time, so yeah, LJ dependency, not what Yelena wants to play, but she plays around the pieces that she gets. And I would say she's managing the pieces as well as she can, manages to burn down here. Gets the spin as well, so not quite setting up the Tugi spin. Now one more longbar dependency, and once she gets the longbar, in time at least, yeah, that's why I said in time, she would have been open again. And now just some more cleanup here to do for Yelena again, whereas Curi is just going for the next Tetris here. It is now 319 here for Curi, having about 200k more than Yelena, which is like a 9 Tetris lead here for Curi, I believe. So massive lead for Curi here, and Yelena finally getting her next Tetris. That was so far the definition of a suffer game for Yelena, and the definition of a pretty good game here for Curi. Next Tetris here now getting to Curi. I mean, as we know, in Tetris there's not only the RNG, it's also how you play the pieces, and this game reflects that perfectly. You know, on the one hand we have the whole cleanup essentially and digging process on Yelena's side, and we have the pretty good game here on Curi's side, now at 600k at 95 lines. Not the best that we've ever seen, but a good game here for Curi. Next set is here for Curi, and to 437 at 100 lines, and 229 at 100 lines here for Yelena. So Yelena at least has managed to not fall behind Curi anymore for now, but this will come down to level 19 play. Whoever is gonna be able to play 19 better will... Well, if Yelena manages to play 19 like 200,000 points better than Curi, then she has a chance of winning at the current standings. Which means Curi can play pretty laid back level 29, so not really having to play aggressive, not really needs to go for any Tetrises. Of course, normally you want to go for Tetrises because they give you the most amount of points per line played. It's like 20,000 points here on level 19 speed for 4 lines compared to 700, so 2,800 lines for 4 lines when you just get singles, which, as you can see, is like a 9 times. It's like 9 times more points, so going for Tetrises is just much more efficient. But as we see on Yelena's side, you also need to be able to survive when you try to go for Tetrises here. Just a lot of cleanup here to do, similar to what we saw in the proper first game. Oh, this is now looking bad for Yelena. This will most likely, result in a topping out at 291, which means Curi at his current 539 takes this game and manages to get the 2-1 here. Let's see if we will get one more early top out on Curi's side, so that we will see the 2-2. One of the most iconic standings that you can have. Both players are ready, so let's start the 4th game between these two in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Okay, and Box also said that reporting is done on the text sheet. That is exactly what I expected. Well, I don't have that open currently. You know, I can at least find it quite easily. And both players have now started. We can see that Yelena in this game is able to get ahead at least a bit. And Jedi's pointing out the perfect clear that Yelena just got, while I was trying to make sure that I have everything open, which is why co-commentator is always so nice. I asked a couple of people, not everyone, just like 2 or 3, who I knew had the restreamer perms in the server, like the DCL Champions League server, because, you know, I don't want to invite random people who don't have the restreaming permissions into commentary, which is why, for example, didn't ask Giovanni, with whom I did the PAL desk Tetris yesterday. Yeah, they either didn't have time, didn't reply, or something along those lines. It is now the next status here to Yelena into 161 against 140 for Curi. Curi here needing to clean this up a bit. It's only a couple of lines in theory. In reality, we can see that he has to put more and more pressure on his small holes in the stack, which made a theoretical like 2 burn into quite a lot more. And we can see the next set is Yelena once again. 210 for Yelena against 150 for Curi. We have a bit of a drought, I think here now, which is when Nest with Gems and the drought counter comes in handy. But sadly, Nest with Gems for now doesn't allow tracking the Hertz input and Hertz input displays. Nice stack here for Curi, being quite high and still going for kind of fancy moves. Gets the next long burn Tetris for Curi, whereas Yelena is burning a bit here. Is open once again. Just waiting for the next JPs, for example. I want to say for the next bar for the next Tetris. Whereas Curi is now once again burning a couple of lines here. We saw that in many games already. But these small burns add up over time and put you at a point disadvantage. Or at least potentially if you have to do them more often than your opponent. So it's not only the long, like 20 plus cleanups that are bad for your game, it's every single burn essentially that can be the difference between winning or losing. If you look at the Yelena's side, we can now see a bit of cleanup there as well, but she gets the long burn. A Tetris once again into 276 against 270. Curi also has played 6 lines more, so it's like a 1.5 Tetris lead in theory for Yelena. In reality, we can see that despite having played less lines, she also needs to clean up. which will be probably around about the 6 lines, if not more, that Curi had played more at that point. Yeah, Curi is once again high here. Now burning down, taking the safeties, and one more Tetris for Curi, and only triple here for Yelena, as we are slowly but surely approaching the 100 lines. We're approaching it quite a bit faster here on Curi's side, as we were at 85 and 94. Yelena likes to take the triple, Curi likes to build up high pretty much, I would say. Yelena plays a bit safer, which can work out if the pieces, like the longbow for example, just don't come. Curi plays a bit more aggressive, which can also work out if the piece that you need, or the pieces that you need, do require to car. That didn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. So both can work out in the end, but I would say that Yelena is playing a bit too safe in this matchup at least. But yeah, in this game we at least don't have a suffer game on Yelena's side. It is 395 for Yelena against 441 here for Curi. Yelena is now open for the Tetris well once again. And we have about 9 lines left for Curi and 17 lines left for Yelena, which means Yelena can get many more Tetrises. Jedi is saying Yelena barely behind in pace now. I would say realistically she is even a bit ahead, because I felt like Curi had to burn quite a lot there. Oh, and now especially on his transition, the 2 holes are gonna be a bit of burning here. Let's see, he had like a 518 transition. Yelena is getting the next longbow Tetris for Yelena, can get one more, so she would be behind in about a Tetris. Gets the Tetris, and we have a 494, so 494, 518. Yeah, about a Tetris difference here in the transition. But Curi had the misdrops that he's still fighting with, whereas Yelena so far is managing to stay clean. Now taking once again the triple that Jedi pointed out earlier. Of course, whoever wins this will play against Jedi in the next match, and we can see that Curi is quite high here, doesn't get the TPs over, which means Yelena has a chase down to do. She needs 572, 572, and this is where just surviving 19 also comes into play, because well, in this game Curi wasn't at by like 200k, but in general, when you can survive longer than your opponent, you have high chances of winning. And yeah, Curi is saying too many misshifts. I feel that, man. Happens to me all the time. Here on Yelena's side we can see that she's getting a bit higher now, taking the burns, getting the TPs over perfect, getting the longbow over once here as well. And now down to less than a Tetris difference, gets the longbow Tetris for Yelena into 574. And Yelena is able to force the 222. And yes, there's no other way to pronounce that than 222. Any slower and it would not be the correct pronunciation. And Jedi is saying nice survival here. We saw some nice survival here from Yelena. As I wanted to point out at least. Jedi is also kind of scouting his opponents here, how they are performing today, to try to figure out how he needs to play in the next match when he will be playing. And Yelena, in case you haven't heard it, you have won the game. You can top out. It is 2-2-2. And Yelena is saying, okay, I didn't know. That's why I repeated it. Sometimes you just don't hear it, but you managed to win by, at that point, 1,000, when I said it the first time, by like 2,000 points or so, and now saying, this chase down, I'm shaking. And that's why we have these small breaks where you can drink a bit, for example. Maybe sometimes get, for example, chewing gum if that helps you. Like for some people, chewing gums can be helpful for their concentration and stuff like that. Curi is saying, unready 1 second. Sure, take your time, we don't want to force you to play when you're not ready, and the seed now is gonna be 09. Yeah, exactly, it's gonna be 09. And we will have at minimum 2 more games coming up. Which means the 1 hour for this match will probably be as long as we play. Partly, of course, because the first game we had to abort. If we didn't have to, then we would now have the match point for one of them. We have the ready for Curi, which means we'll probably see the ready on Yelena's side soon as well. Looks like she's waiting for something on the screen, but no, now she is ready as well, which means we can start their 5th game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. We are not yet in a decider. Again, we have 2 more games coming up, but whoever loses this match will play in the DCL Europa League. And whoever wins this will then have to play against Jedi. Which means if you want to be in the DCL Champions League, you currently need to win 2 matches, this one here, and then the one against Jedi. Which means worst case you have to play 14 competitive games in a row. That's pretty much only what you want to do when you're playing some kind of in-person tournament. There, of course, you know, well, even then it's not in a row, then it's generally you have your set, or like your match, and then there's like some other set of matches happening. Maybe a couple of times in a row if you're in the earlier rounds. And so, for example, if your match goes for 45 minutes, you can expect to have a 45-minute break afterwards. That's not really the case when you play online like this, because now we have this match and then we have immediately the match where one of these will be playing again. So yeah, that's kind of a big difference, in my opinion, between in-person and online tournaments. Of course, in online tournaments you could schedule your matches to happen at different times, and if you look at Yelena's side, the match stack is pretty high here, gets some nice burns, but no, just giving up here. That long barge misdrop, she was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna get anything over there, saying what am I doing? And that is a pretty good question. Curi, you have won this game by surviving longer and getting a couple more points. This kind of stuff also sadly just happens sometimes. You have a pretty good game where you just focus and, you know, play really well, and then you have one more game where you just can't focus, for example. That's, I would say, something that happens pretty much all the time here in DCL Tetris. Curi saying, did I win? Yes, you did, because Yelena topped out, unfortunately, and early. Which means next up is your match point. So Curi needs to win 1 more game. Yelena needs to win 2 more games. It is still possible for both players here. And historically speaking, based on this match, the next game should be a bit of a potato game on Curi's side that Yelena can win. Let's see if that will actually be the case. Or if maybe Curi can now focus 2 games in a row. And we have 2 readies here, so to start the potentially last game between these 2 players here in 3. Oh, okay, no. Curi said, never mind, 1 second, my bad, so we will abort the countdown. Yelena, please don't start. I repeat, don't start. We're waiting on Curi. There was apparently something small happening. Yeah, and Yelena saying, okay, exactly. Curi needs to leave the room. Let's see how long this will take. Yeah, while we're waiting on Curi, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but we can take a short look at the current bracket here to see what has already happened in the prelims, because we have Somalian, who played against the Woodchuck, and Jacobo, who played against Eliva already in the DCL Champions League, and all the other players, so Somalian, Eliva, Guarebo, Nguyen, and Weisbrot in the Europa League. Curi is back again. We have both ready, so let's just start the game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. And yeah, one of these players, as I said, will join in the Europa League and the other will potentially join in Champions League. Both players have now started. And of course, if Yelena wins this, she will be the only European player. No, Shuichi is still in. Okay, so if Yelena wins this and Shuichi wins this match and Yelena also wins the next match, so there's a lot that Yelena needs to win. We could have 2 Americans getting promoted from the pre-eliminations into Champions League. If Yelena loses this, then we will guaranteed have 3 Americans. So let's see how that will work out here for Yelena and for Curi. Yelena needs to win this game if she wants to to stay in the pre-eliminations. It is currently 70k for Yelena against 91k here for Curi. Which means Curi has a small lead here for about a Tetris in now it's in pace, no longer in points. Curi is getting pretty high though. Does get long over to the right side, perfect. So the right side is now nicely filled in, but the blue S-piece doesn't go over, which means Curi gets an early top out at 94. And the predicted potato game just happened, which means we have a 3-2-3. So Yelena, feel free to top out. As Curi is saying, not sure what happened there, it just escalated. And we have a decider between Yelena and Curi here. It is gonna be one final game using the 2B seed. And Curi is saying last game either 900k or 70k. It's gonna be pretty much that. It's either go big or go home. There's no in between. There's no like stay at the stadium. And yeah, also saying so do I. Exactly. Gonna need a minute or two before this one. Take your sweet time. We are not gonna try to pressure you into playing when you are not feeling properly prepared. If you feel like your hands, your brain or anything else needs a short break, then feel free to use that. The only difference, or like, not difference, the only exception is if you're like, I need half an hour break. If it's too long, then it's not possible. But you know, on an in-person tournament, that's typically something like the toilet strat, which some players like to use, you know, just going to the toilet in between like every single game, something like that. Can be used to gain an unfair advantage, but it's generally not used for that use case. And also while we wait for Curi to get back, I'm gonna play a short ad because these help to support the streams. So yeah, let's have a short ad break while we wait for Curi to be back. Of 30 seconds. And yeah, if you have subscribed using, for example, Twitch Prime, you are not seeing this ad, and instead you can listen to my voice and enjoy me drinking a bit of water. Oh, perfect. Just as I've started the advertising, there's 14 players, 14 viewers. And Curi is also back, and so is Yelena. She also left the room for a couple of seconds here. Okay. Yelena has the seat ready. Curi has the seat ready. And let's see when the players are ready to play. Because at yes, it is gonna be 2B. And Curi just left once again. Kinda curious about why that has happened. Of course, there can be a ton of reasons. Maybe it's something outside. Maybe one you live with has some small issue, like, I don't know, cooking, for example. There just can be a ton of reasons as for why you might need to get up. Okay, Curi is saying ready to be. Still waiting for Curi to sit down and see the ready on stream, but yeah, well, like the match game selection. Let's start the game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. The match point between Yelena and Curi. Both have started a bit earlier. It's the same start time. And a completely different stack already. We can see Curi once again putting the phone away here. Not like in the first game where he had to get the phone and then play like one-handed, which generally does not work out. Here's the first Tetris to Curi. Yelena closed the well here. She set up on a delayed J-piece burn, which she now got. And now getting her first Tetris, whereas Curi already has 2 Tetrises. That is 27 against 46. Well, technically it's 26,980 against 470 something something. Who cares? Rounding scores is generally fine. Okay, Curi is in a bit of troubles here, needing to burn quite a lot of lines, which allows Yelena to get an advantage here. Early shift of that L piece, didn't get the S piece where he needed it to go, which means Curi is now in the bit longer cleanup situations here. Luckily the misdrops didn't cause too many issues though, as we can see, and Yelena also not ready for Tetrises here. Well, Yelena could now go for a too high well, whereas Curi is only getting ready soon. Jedi pointing out that maybe there was some kind of phantom burn, but no, this was just a tug misdrop. And Yelena finally getting her first Tetris in quite a long time. And only a triple here for Curi, who could of course now try to go for one more Tetris playing one high. And yeah, here's now the next Tetris to Curi. And I assume that Curi will try to play at the same height here for quite a long time. Also, it's a bit late now, but I hope that my pronunciation of the name Curi is good enough. It's not gonna be correct, but it's hopefully good enough. Next Tetris here for Curi, and to now 161 against 121 for Yelena, who just got one more triple here. And Yelena now setting up for the next Tetris. But yeah, it looks like Curi won't have one more potato game here. So Yelena needs to focus and try to play the best that she can. Of course, we also saw Curi topping out on level 19 speed quite early. So yeah, just because the 18 looks good doesn't mean that the 19 will also look good. And next Tetris to Yelena into 176 against 232. Bit of a clean up now for Yelena, a couple of lines. Using the longbow to get open here, kind of would have preferred, for example, a T-piece there to get open a bit early and then the Tetris setup already done. But yeah, now next Tetris to Yelena into 202 against 256 here for Curi, getting the next long one, one more Tetris into 280 here. Also next Tetris here for Yelena into 226. And we can see that Curi is also needing to burn a bit here, going for the center well. Now being, yeah, as I said, a bit dirty, gonna be a couple of burns. Nearly open once again here. And now open board here on Curi's side, getting the next long one Tetris into 308, so 308 against 249, so 249 here. It's about a 60,000 point lead here for Curi, which is pretty good. But once again, having played more lines here, not pushing down. This is just because Curi is playing higher than Yelena, where the pieces don't quite need as much time to fall compared to, well, playing lower, which just puts you ahead in the piece sequence and can put a bit of pressure on your opponent when they're like, oh, the opponent is ahead by 50,000 points, but the opponent has played like 10 lines more, which currently is the case in line difference. Of course, there's still a 100,000 point difference, which in reality is more like a 60k difference if you take the amount of line spread into consideration. Okay, last 30 lines of the last game between these two players have just started to happen. 311 against 385. Next set is going to Yelena to 334 against 385. Now 408 for Curi. Yelena is clean. Curi also managed to get clean here after the long center burn and then a bit of cleanup situation that he had going on. Next Tetris here to Curi. Longbar for Yelena and Tetris for Yelena here. So for now it looks like we should be able to see one more clean level. 19 transition. And indeed we get the next Tetris for Yelena, but Curi is showing us a bit of weakness in this tech here. Double LJ dependency gets a longbar to keep the normal LJ dependency up. Put the longbar over to the left, so now has one more longbar dependency in the centers. The board is falling apart a bit here on Curi's side. I believe this is 19 a bill, getting perfect pieces though only. So if Curi needs to, can't burn here for a bit, then this would have been dangerous, but he gets the pieces mostly at least required for the burns, gets the next double, does get the TPs over, perfect. Now needs something else for the left side, not the pieces that he wants, but the pieces he has to play around with. Next TPs for a double burn here for Curi, still being high, not being open. Okay, open gets longbar and a Tetris finally for Curi here into 496 against 441 here on Yelena's side. Yelena being lower but not going for Tetris. So far, Curi really high, just tops out at 496. And now we have the chase down for Yelena. We had some amazing digging once again by Curi, but then not quite able to finish the game here, which means Yelena chases down 40,000 points here. Most likely she needs 497 in order to win the game and the match. Which is gonna be Tetris and some change. Or you know, you can just burn like 40 lines and also get the game. Does depend on what you want to do. Curi saying, no way, I missed that 7 left L. You missed that 7 left L and that, oh no. I was looking at Yelena's screen at that time, so I didn't see what is happening on your side. But missing that 7 left, oof. Drought wasn't an idea either, yeah. It was a couple of factors. But there's still a chase down happening on Yelena's side. So at this point, it's still Yelena's turn to catch up to you. I mean, it's only like 15k that she needs, so it should be pretty easy if she plays it safe. Next couple of burns now for Yelena. And yeah, it looks like Yelena is playing this safe. Now going for a bit of the longbar or Tetris setup. Gets the triple, okay. Into 496, 360, she needs one more single, gets the single. Which means, congratulations Yelena, you have been able to win this game. Huge GG's. And yeah, that means I can report the game. This is gonna require a couple of seconds for 3 and it is now finished, which means if we go into the table/bracket, yes, we can see the next match coming up. It is gonna be Jedi against Yelena. Yelena and Jedi, are you ready to go or do you need a short break? I would understand it if Yelena is like, no, I need a short break after a match against Curi. Yelena is saying, a 5-minute break, okay, so see you, let's say at 10 past, so in about 5 minutes again, then I would love the match to actually start. Yeah, so we have a short break. See you at, I'm gonna be here in like 2 minutes or so. Just a short ad break, so that we have a bit of something to listen to at least in the meantime. Okay, and we are back again. Well, at least we are back on the part here, not necessarily the actual match. Because as we know, Yelena wanted a short break of like, what did she say, 5 minutes? Before she will face off against Jedi and potentially make it to the DCL Champions League. This is gonna be her final match in the pre-eliminations, as well as of course also the final match for Jedi, also the only match because he played well enough beforehand. And let's take a guess we can take a short look at the players here before we will. I wanted to do exclamation mark C, not exclamation mark 3, of course. The new base seat for the next match. And yeah, we can see that the players are actually ready to play because the 5-minute break that Yelena asked for is not yet ready. So yeah, we just wait for the players to be ready, but now we can watch them potentially warm up, make sure that the settings are correct, you know, hand cam, hertz display, input display, all that good stuff that we know and love here in the Death Tetris scene. And it looks like Yelena is ready, Jedi is getting ready, meaning let's enjoy our lovely opening movie once again. Okay, and now that the opening movie is finished and okay, only Jedi is ready. I thought for a second Yelena was also ready. That would have been perfect, by the way, if Yelena also would have been ready at that point. Yeah, but we can start the match whenever Yelena is ready as well. It looks like she's typing something in the chat here. So let's see if there will be a message from her. Of course, I will see the message before I see her stop doing what she's doing, because I have the around about 5-second delay here. So good luck, have fun. I hope I can play decently. Let's hope that you and Jedi will be able to play amazing Tetris here. Let's start your match and your first game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. And I will make sure that Jedi has the Hertz input display set up properly. We see it on Yelena's side and we also see it on Jedi's side. Perfect. I mean, if you have to replay a game because of something like that, it's, in my opinion, always the most unfortunate that can happen because you can prevent it so easily. But sadly, the Tetris gym does not save settings like that. Would be amazing if the Tetris gym had like an option to save certain settings, like for example if you always want to play using the DCL mode, if you want to play having the Hertz input display turned on and stuff like that. Okay, but now we can see 28 for Yelena, 51 for Jedi. Next Tetris to Yelena here in this second match of the stream, which means we are not even halfway through the stream, only just begun. Yeah, we have seen Yelena play before. I would say Not the most consistent player we've seen, but the ability of her to play safe and not get, you know, into the frustration, now I'm just gonna go for dirty Tetris mindset, is definitely a potential helping point if you get into troublesome positions against Jedi, who we have not yet seen today, but we know being a good player here in theory, I would argue a bit better than Yelena, but that of course does depend on many factors, so let's see how these two players will compare here. In the beginning we can see about a 40,000 point lead, so one Tetris, 1.75 something like that Tetris lead here for Jedi. Yelena now LJ dependency gets the longbar, JPs, LPs, and one more LPs. Quite a lot of J and LPs is here for Yelena and Jedi at that point, both being at the same piece, and of course Jedi also showing us some fun. I meant some witzes, at least one witz. I'm gonna be away for half a minute. Here was just what I said earlier. Sometimes when you live with others, there's some knocking on your door and you need to leave for a short time. That just happened to me. But I'm now back again. Looks like I didn't miss anything important here. It is 249 for Yelena against 310 here for Jedi. 2 clean games so far in level 18. No big burns, no big misdrops. So the point difference pretty much is just their different playstyle. I'm also a bit confused about the microphone because it's showing that it picks up something when it shouldn't, due to the way my noise suppression everything is set up. And maybe I need some kind of noise gate or whatever it's called, that when there's like audio below, I don't know, minus 40 or 35 dB, something like that, that it just cuts off fully. Maybe that would be something I need to consider in the future. But yeah, we can now see 372, 387. It is neck and neck point-wise between these two players. Yelena has only played a Tetris more. So at the same lines, we can see the 1.5 Tetris lead here for Jedi. Next Tetris for Yelena. Yeah, I would say that Yelena plays better now than she played earlier against her first opponent. Maybe her skill level does adapt against the skill level of whoever she's playing against. Here we can see 418, 435, Jedi in the lead, but not by that much. It's pretty much the difference of a couple of burn lines only. We can see 3-line difference here, and the small lead here for Yelena. Yelena once again taking her triple that, as Jedi pointed out earlier, she kinda loves to take. That's what I meant by she's playing a bit safer, not the most aggressive, when she's like, okay, I'm not fully sure if I can get a Tetris out of this. She instead just goes for the triple to not get into dangers later. Which, as we can see, puts her at a bit lower pace, but at a bit higher safety. Jedi also having now some small misdrops here, should be able to fix that. Mostly at least, until the transition to not be in dangers there. Talking about the transition. Transition coming up at 7 lines, both players at the same lines. 498 for Yelena, 501 against Jedi. So it looks like Yelena has a potential advantage here in this game. Especially as Jedi is now quite high on the right side, getting into the transition. He wants longbar for the right side, by the way, before the transition happens. But it doesn't look like Jedi is getting the longbar here. He is getting quite high. Where's longbar for Jedi? He gets the longbar, he gets the transition. Nearly 1 line left now, the transition here for Jedi. Jedi is high, gets something for the right side. He needs something for the right side. He puts the T-piece over. Not quite the best piece for that situation, because now the left side is still hard to access. He doesn't get the O-piece over. Tops out at 512. Jedi is saying that one misdrop, and that escalated into the so situation, which has, as we can see, allowed our Spanish Spanish player in English to win the first game. And it is now 1-0 for Yelena. GG's to Yelena. Well played here. Yelena is saying oof. I love how she's spelling it UFF. Because in English it's normally spelled like OOF, OFF, something like that. And the way she spells it is much closer to what I'm used to in German. Okay, next up it's gonna be the 6B seed. Yeah, saying I'm always suffering. I mean, you're playing Tetris, so of course you're always suffering when you play Tetris. There's nothing you can discuss about that or can deny about that. Let's start the next game here between these two players in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Jedi saying RIP my internet. It looks good enough on my side. Let me refresh your stream maybe. Okay. It was just some kind of huge delay apparently. Could have been on your side, could have been on my side, could have been Twitch kind of being like, haha, I'm funny. We can't really know for sure because there's too many factors involved. Or, you know, it could also be my OBS that was like, okay, I'm not just gonna load the most current state. But this, to me, looks pretty decent. And just as I said, it looks pretty decent. We have the small issue here on Jedi's side of the internet. So far, it's not that bad. Because as you can... maybe it's not getting really its actually bad situation. Oh, and I just got a DM by Omen Voir saying, don't burn out. You should definitely say that to Adam after his 12-hour stream or whatever he did around his birthday. And yeah, we got one more update here now on Jedi's side. We once again get a small update here. I'm gonna say we will wait how this evolves over the next minute or so. Because, you know, we don't need updates all the time. As we can see, Jedi is not in a position where you can tap. Or I guess he could, but it would be a quite different tap position compared to what we're used to. And yeah, now as we can see, the stream is now, let's say, clean again. So it's most likely just some temporary issue here on Jedi's side. Because he's now behind a lot in the lines. Because when the stream doesn't load, then, you know, OBS and Twitch do their shenanigans where you just fall behind. Meaning I will try to reload the stream after this game is finished. Point-wise, it's currently 136, now 159 for Yelena at 47 lines against 126 for Jedi at 34 lines, so the point lead is at Yelena's position, but there's a big pace lead, I would say, for Jedi currently. And once again, these stutters here on Jedi's side. Let me look what the stream is in Twitch directly, so not via OBS. It's actually ahead. So it looks like my OBS was having some slight issues here maybe, instead of it being on Jedi. .220, 213, a couple of lines difference, so there's neck and neck between these two players. Once again, a close game here, just what you love to see. Komodo was saying earlier, but did you get the JTAG? I didn't see the JTAG, I have to admit. Maybe there was an amazing JTAG, but then I sadly didn't notice it. And you once again have a bit of buffering here on Jedi's side. But yeah, this is too random for me to be like it's, you know, doing some kind of strategic situation. Because we always need to pay attention to that. As at least in theory, you can handicap your internet with specific situations, so that when you, for example, high, that you then be like, okay, let's cap the internet for a bit, then press start to, you know, get into the pause menu, then switch to rolling and whatever shenanigans. You can do that in theory, but because of how it happens here on Jedi's side, I don't feel like that's the case in this game at least. $300 for Yelena, $330 for Jedi, so Jedi ahead in points and pace. We're getting into the last bit now of level 18, as we have around about 30 lines left to go. And now let's maybe have a bit longer level 19 game. Because 19 generally is when your DAS skills show the most. In NTSC and PAL, because the kill screen level 29 speed isn't really playable using DAS, even for the best DAS players in the world. The stacks so far are clean. Let's see if the players are able to maintain the cleanness, while of course playing aggressive enough to not fall behind on points. Or in Yelena's case, not fall behind even further in points, as she's currently behind at about 7,000 points, or around about 3 Tetrises here, as it is 383 against 450, 452. Next Tetris to Yelena into 400. Only 4 lines left to go here for Yelena, taking a couple of safety burns here into the transition at 432. Jedi looks like he's trying to go for one last Tetris, gets the long bar Tetris and transition at 507. So yeah, about a 70,000 point lead, or at that point 3 Tetris lead here for Jedi. I said that point because once we get into like level 28, that's down to a 2 Tetris lead. Because the amount of points you get per line played is multiplied by the level you are currently playing. We see a clean bot here on Yelena's side. We see a bit of burning now for Jedi, as his stack, while being clean, wasn't the nicest to play around. You can see that again, one more double burn here for Jedi, next Tetris here for Yelena. So Yelena's 18 looks a bit weaker than Jedi's 19, but Jedi's 19 looks a bit stronger than Jedi's 18 looks a bit 19. I'm confused. Okay, Jedi's 19 looks weaker than Yelena's 19, that's what I meant. Because we can see here once again the early top out in the first game we had. Now we can see on Jedi's side the burning that he needs to do. He is pretty high. He is just trying to find ways to dig out of the situation that he is in. Not really finding the ways that he wants to. Does get the next flat burn of that long bar. Does get the next flat burn of one more long bar. But the left side he does get another flat burn. Getting the LPs a bit too late here. Is getting higher and higher. Topping out at 569. And Yelena is already able to win her second game here. RXS saying these pieces, yeah, not what Jedi wanted. He got a nice amount of flat burns here, which puts the general height a bit lower, but it didn't allow him to get the critical part lower. The LPs just didn't arrive in time, which has led to the top out here. And next up we will play the 7C seed. Let's see how that will turn out. Because currently, I mean, Yelena was struggling against Curi in the first match, but in this match Jedi is having some issues. They're saying the internet problems are almost always on my end. Okay, that's good to know. I dropped a bunch of frames. Luckily, I have dropped 0 frames. But yeah, don't worry too much about that. It's internet, it's stuff that we can't really influence. Both players are ready, so let's start the next game. In exclamation mark 3, 2, 1, Tetris! Also, of course, thanks to everyone here who is part of the DAS Tetris scene. Be it as a player, be it as a viewer, we appreciate all of you. Also, of course, as a streamer, as everything. You do some tech stuff like Adam Irish, for example, I believe, did the scenes here. Yeah, huge shout outs and thanks to everyone who is just part of this amazing community and is allowing, you know, these players to shine. We have the first Tetris to Yelena. Jedi is having some slight issues here in the beginning, which means that he is about a Tetris behind Yelena so far, but he's also played 6 lines less, so let me try to refresh Jedi here. Next Tetris to Jedi, next double to Yelena. And it looks like we're not the same piece, so I would say the refresh was a bit of help here. Next Tetris to Yelena, couple of burns now to Yelena. Jedi high, setting up for the next lumber, getting a long one to Tetris to Jedi. Next Tetris to Jedi, to Yelena once again. Yelena and Jedi in my mind are just two close names, so I might mix them up a bit. A small fun fact, in my first ever kinda big stream that I did, that was the German Tetris Championship, so PAL, back in 2020, already a couple of years. 4.5 years is a long time for, you know, doing casting and still being shit at it. But yeah, what I want to say is there we had two players being Blau and Paul, and I always messed their names up until, you know, the whole tournament long, and it became a bit of a meme that I'm bad with names, and, you know, that's because I am. Smaller shift here of that TP's on Yelena's side, which puts her in a bit of a burning situation. 2 lines to get the well open. Well, now 4 lines to get the well open once again. Then Notet is ready, because she will probably get some kind of double burn now. She's not setting up for the double burn in the way that I expected, at least. Let's see what she will be able to do here. While Jedi is ahead in points by around about 40,000 points. Similar to what we have seen in the first 2 games, where Jedi is ahead on level 18, but Yelena is able to come back on level 29. Level 19, oh god. That's what I mean. I'm doing these castings for a long time and still mess up stuff like that. I don't know why. The lead is now increasing for Jedi up to around about 80,000 points, which is a bit over 3 Tetris lead for Jedi. So quite the big lead, as we are a bit over halfway through level 18. In their third game. I believe if we get 5 matches in total, so if Yelena wins 4 and Jedi wins 1, then at the current pace we would be finished with this match on time for the next match, which of course is between Shuichi and Curi. Next Tetris here to Jedi. Next triple here to Yelena. Yelena burning a bit here, which has Jedi allowed to get about a 100,000 point advantage, or about 4 Tetris and some change. So quite big lead here now for Jedi against Yelena, who is in a Tetris position, just waiting for the long bar here, taking safety burns. And now finally gets a long bar into Tetris, but Jedi also got the Tetris here. 312 against 399. But let's see how the 19 game for Jedi will go in around about 30 lines. Maybe he will be able to show us some nicer 19 in this game compared to the last 2 games. I mean, if he can't, then it's gonna most likely come down to one more chase down for Yelena, as we have seen before. But Jedi definitely wants to show us what he is actually capable of on level 19 speeds, just as we have one more small inter-tanger here. Please just continue playing. when these happen, because unless they are too bad, we can generally work around them. About 10 lines left to go. Next Tetris for Yelena. Jedi is now closing the well here. Once a longbow does work. Is now open, waiting for the next longbow for Tetris. Next Tetris to Yelena. Next Tetris for Jedi probably coming up soon as well. Yeah, here's now the longbow and Tetris for Jedi. Next Tetris for Yelena. Yelena transitions at 4:55 and 5:25 transition for Jedi. So once again a 70k lead here for Yelena. Pretty much the same that we've had in the first two games, but Yelena doesn't get a critical LP's over, which means that she tops out. As she said, she hang it, and this allows our American player to win his first game. GG's Jedi, you have won your first game. It is now 2-1. XS, I swear squares on the right are the worst. Somehow yes. Small fun fact, as you mentioned square, there's a couple of Tetris versions where you can actually do a bit of a square rotation, like square spin, I guess, because they have like special power-up icons and stuff like that. It's weird, like that Tetris stuff, but there's versions where you have many different things that we are not used to. And let's start the fourth game between Yelena and Jedi here now in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Jedi is throwing his hands into the air, but feel free to play. I don't know what happened there. We can see that Yelena started a bit early, which could be because of the stream issues that Jedi had, so let's reload the stream. Yeah, we can see it's now a bit closer, both players getting one Tetris and a bit of pushdown here in the beginning. Because as we know, pushdown can definitely matter. It normally does not. But we always have, like, you always have the chance to get the one game where we just don't get the pieces for any scores in the beginning, for example. And then just getting a bit more pushdown than your opponent can be the main difference between winning and losing. And we have 49 against 49, so the main difference here is that Yelena got 12 pushdown points and Jedi 5. And next set is going to Yelena here. As well as one more to Jedi. Next Tetris to Yelena as well now. 120 against 102. So a rare position where Yelena is actually ahead here on level 18 against Jedi. Taking a smart single burn here, using the TP's flat. Most, I would say, beginner players would have put the OP's 180 degree rotated there, which would have meant more burns and stuff like that. But the way that Yelena did it was quite nice. And yeah, 147, 149, next Tetris to Yelena, next Tetris to Jedi. Still as close as we hoped for, and two pretty good games so far. We can see that Jedi just did an early, kind of early shift, it felt like, but was able to adjust to that. And yeah, now the internet issues once again. And 219, 220 at 50ish lines. Jedi a bit ahead, but yeah, I feel like this is the most consistent match so far on the stream. And kinda also all pre-eliminations. To be fair, I haven't seen all prelims, just a couple of them. But yeah, this feels pretty consistent. At least the 18 speed, of course, the 19 speed was a bit different. But 18 is kind of half of the point, so if you're consistent 18, that already puts you in a nice position, generally speaking. Next set is now to Yelena, 275 against 273, Jedi having played 8 lines less. So in that regard, Jedi currently is in a nice position, it's getting high here. Okay, now starts to burn in the final seconds, essentially. If he had put one more piece in the center of his deck, I would have been like, okay, now you're topping out. But he didn't. And we can see that he is now setting up for the next burns, getting open now. And got a Tetris here, 320 against 300 at the same lines. Pretty much, so Yelena is in a small score and pace lead. While Jedi here is in a bit of cleanups. Or like, oh, already shipped off the JBs and a bit of, not cleanup, but you know, staying clean, not trying to get too high. Playing moderately aggressive, I would say. Like, Curi earlier played pretty aggressive. Yelena is playing pretty, you know, passive, you could say. And Jedi is somewhere in between. Which can work out, but not always has to work out. Oh, now Jedi's bought the small hole here. Gonna require a bit of burning there later. And because of the center well, that's not what you want to do, because the center well is hard to maintain. Yeah, we can see that here now on Jedi's board. No longer able to maintain the center well, is gonna require a bit of burning now to open it up again and potentially go for one more center well Tetris. It looks like Jedi is wanting to do that. Just getting an O piece that he couldn't use, so one more small burn here for Jedi that he will have to do as we're getting close to the level 90 transition. Less than 20 lines left to go. Yelena in the meantime, just able to get ahead in points. We have 469 against 396, so about a 70k lead for Yelena. Just as I started talking about her, she got a couple of misdrops, which will put her on quite an annoying level 90 transition board. Depending on how the next couple of lines go, this will be doable. At least, you know, if she gets the burns. It's not going to be a nice 19 position, especially not now. Okay, gets one more longbar, good longbar here for Yelena. Needs one more, gets the next longbar, okay, gets the next burn here, next burn. Okay, now level 19 transition for Yelena. Overshifts the TPs immediately, which puts Yelena into a top out. Yelena tops out at 478 and Jedi transitions at 453. Jedi, your goal is 479. Okay, 478 because I didn't get 478, 92. Okay, thank you. So 479 is your goal, Jedi. You can just line it out how Yelena did it earlier. And then we most likely will have one more 2-2 situation here. As Jedi only needs a couple of 1,000 points here now. Which means a couple of burns here on this level. He either will top out, which doesn't look likely, or he will be able to overtake Yelena in points. Just needs one more single, I believe. Probably 2 singles. Yeah. And he's able to take this game and make the match a 2-2. So far, this Preeliminations stream has been pretty close here. With the 2-2 in both matches. Which means you will have at minimum 2 more games as we play a best of 7, which means you need to win 4 games. Maybe we will even be able to get the decider once again. Both press are ready, so let's start the next match here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. I was looking. Oh, yeah, I didn't get the number for the perfect clear. The perfect clear would have been so nice for Yelena here. I wanted to say that I'm currently looking a bit at the Discord server. Because IXS, or also known as Anti, said that earlier today at like 5 AM local time, or like 4 UTC, actually 4 UTC, I have to adjust my name on Discord, my nickname, because it's no longer UTC +2, we are now in UTC +1 over here. You know, daylight saving times and stuff like that, it's confusing. But yeah, that has led to a bit of scheduling there, because we're not 100% sure if the schedule that I proposed actually works. But it's like 99% sure that it should. I'm just waiting for the last confirmation from Dan, I believe. As Lipton and everyone else confirmed that. Yeah, that's up for later. In this match it's now 101 for Yelena against 96 for Jedi. Yelena, a bit of a dirty situation here, could now try to play too high. Let's see if she... No, she's trying to clean this up and get into a safe position. Jedi also doing a bit of cleanup here now. Could play one high, which I oftentimes quite like, because one and two high in my opinion are generally so low that it doesn't impact your stacking abilities, while allow you to play a bit more aggressive, not needing to burn potentially a lot of lines. And then you just play until you get to your small hole, which prevents you from playing at 0 height. And yeah, that generally works out, but you can also of course play safer, and we can see that on Yelena's side so far working out quite nicely. 163 against 111. Jedi being a bit behind in lines because of the stream issues and the extra delay that we get due to that. And I'm just realizing we have an incorrect seed. Players, please top out. I just see that we have 9D and 9E. Yeah, exactly. They don't have the same seed. Yes, so players, please top out. Sorry that I didn't catch it earlier, but it is 9D and 9E, which means we have to replay this game. Not sure where we are in the P sequence, so I would say we will just go to AF next. So Jedi, please top out due to a seed issue. And we will just play next AF. Next AF. Also something you don't hear that often. Because that guarantees that we haven't played the seed before. Yeah, I don't know who of you made the mistake there, and I don't really care. It's just that there was a small issue. And now let me double check it before we start this game. AF looks good on both sides, so let's start the game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Yelena has started. Let's refresh Jedi here. Jedi has also started. We can see both players got a Tetris so far. We can see the first burns happening on Jedi's side, and now also on Yelena's side. Yelena did a bit more burning than Jedi so far, but we are still so early in the match that, you know, this says about nothing about the game so far. I mean, we are not so deep in the game, not the match. And let's see if in this game we will be able to maybe get to level 29 for the first time in this stream. We're now in like our 10th game, 11th, and we have yet to see level 29 even once. We got kinda close in the first match, but so far in the second match not much luck. We can see the next set is now for Jedi into 119 against 1060 for Yelena. Yelena once again just playing a bit safer here than Jedi. And next Tetris here to Jedi, about a 35, so 1.5 and some change lead here for Jedi. 1.5 Tetrises that is, and not 1.5 whatever else. Yelena is getting into the Tetris readiness here, waiting for the long bar. Jedi is also getting into the Tetris readiness, as we can see, just setting up a bit more now. Jedi will need to burn 1 to 2 lines here on column 8-9. We don't see how many it will actually be, but on Yelena's side we can see that she is waiting for the long bar here. Looks like we'll have a bit of a drought. Let's see how she will handle it. And here's the long bar. Tetris for Yelena. And we can see the next Tetris here to Yelena once again. Jedi stream lagging a bit behind, which just makes casting his side so much harder. But now we see 193 at 45 lines, which is 15 lines behind Yelena. So score isn't accurate at all, but currently Yelena has the lead and Jedi is behind. Kinda, but not really. Next Tetris going to Yelena. One more Tetris going to Yelena. Yeah, Jedi's side it's a bit weird now. I don't know if you have a rule set about how much of your stream can have these issues. I would say it's totally fine, but I don't know Boxy's opinion. Boxy, in case you're in chat, feel free to add something to the rule set about stream smoothness, essentially. Like how much of the stream can be laggy for game to count, if it's, I don't know, like half a minute straight where we don't get any updates. Something like that might be helpful in the rule set. Okay, 294 for Yelena against 31, but now 340 for Jedi. So Jedi, having played 12 lines less, which is around about 60,000 points, 60-70. Nice position here for Jedi, being ahead by quite a lot in score and especially pace. Whereas Yelena once again is dirty here, which means Yelena will just need to burn that bit more, which of course will allow Jedi to get that bit more of a lead. And in the end, will most likely force Yelena to get into a chase down. Okay, Jedi stream is now working nicely, so let's refresh it to get, yes, we are close. In lines 320 for Yelena, 440 for Jedi. So Jedi is at by around 120. That's like a 6 Tetris lead now for Jedi. Huge lead. And next set is to Jedi once again. We are on the last 20 lines here of level 18 speeds before we will transition to level 19, where the game speed will roughly double. Okay, next set was here to Jedi. Yelena setting up a bit here, now needing the long bar for column 5, gets a long bar, so it did work out. Now one more long bar needed for the Tetris, whereas Jedi on his side, as we can see, pretty much is Tetris ready. Well, gets long bar Tetris for Yelena, Tetris for Jedi. Yelena being a bit high here, wants to find a way to get into a bit nicer transition state here for level 19, and I would say that she is now in a probably doable 19 board, depending on the pieces she just got a horrible. I take back what I said about the most likely nice board for the 19 transition. This is now a bad board for a 19 transition. Let's see if Yelena can handle this. I mean, it's possible, does get the double, does get no burn. That was the shadow burn that I just saw. It needs a long bar for the left side, doesn't get the long bar over, didn't spin it properly. Yelena tops out at 413, which allows Jedi to win this game and have the match point up next. And yeah, Yelena is saying bad decisions and also bad pieces just before the transition. Definitely both. And yeah, the momentum is now 100% on the side of Jedi, as he has just won 3 games in a row. Yelena needs to win 1 more to win the game, to win the match, whereas Jedi needs to win 1 more game to win the match. Next up is match point for Jedi. BO. I believe as we had AF before, so it's BO now exactly. Both players are ready. Let's start this game. The match point in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Okay, Yelena's... I felt like did a bit of mental training here. I started the game. Jedi is a bit behind, which we are now used to. Will probably start the game. Yeah, has also started the game now. I believe same opener. On Yelena's side, we can see that she's setting up the next Tetris here. Didn't go for the spin. Now went for the spin. And next Tetris for Yelena. Jedi is setting up his next Tetris. Well, he's waiting for the long bar. And we can see 471 for Yelena against 45 for Jedi. Jedi also taking some small burns here, which puts him at about the same lines played as Yelena. Yelena getting the next long bar Tetris for Yelena. Jedi is open, waiting for the next long bar, which should arrive on time for him, most likely. Okay, Jedi is having some slight stuff happening on his deck. Couple of bad decisions there, I have to say, which has led to not getting the Tetris. And next Tetris here to Yelena. Jedi looks like getting Tetris ready soon. Gets a long bar Tetris for Jedi here. Yelena is going for the center triple, not the center well set up. As we know, safety first on Yelena's side, and yeah, that has put her behind in score in most games. And we can see that once again, next Tetris here for Jedi. Jedi now hit by about 3/4 of a Tetris. It is still neck and neck here, but Yelena is taking more and more burns here. Gets next longboard Tetris for Yelena into 134. For now ahead in points, as we have a bit of a lagging behind here on Jedi's side. Next triple here on Yelena's side. Wants the J piece for the J-Tuck, gets the J piece for the J-Tuck, and takes the double here. Not going for the Kadam 9 Tetris, just, you know, standard Kadam 10. And next Tetris to Yelena once again. Looks like Jedi Even's stream has caught up to line 48 now. We are 5 lines apart and 196 now for Jedi. Jedi's stream also looking quite smooth now, I have to say, which I appreciate a lot. And with that we can see the nice position here for now for Yelena in points that we saw a bit no longer here, as Jedi is ahead by 2.5 Tetrises roughly, as we are getting to about the halfway point here of level 18 now. Yelena like a 400, mid 400 projection. Jedi on a route about a 500, mid 500 projection. Projection being when you play about the same as you play for now in the Tetris efficiency rate. What's the score that you are expected to get essentially. Next Tetris for Jedi into 316. Yelena at 241, getting one more long one. Next Tetris here to Yelena once again, gets the next S-piece spin here as well. Is setting up for the Tetris that Jedi just got. Jedi's board looking pretty clean here as well, like Yelena earlier wants a J piece for the tuck here. Now going for the longboard dependency, instead filled in the Tetris here. Longboard dependency getting a bit higher now and getting the line spin. The line spin also works when you have the J tuck kind of often, and yeah, did here on Jedi's side, which puts him at 387 against 334. Or still about the 50k lead, or 2 Tetrises and some change lead here for Jedi. Yelena now, I would say, a nice position, board-wise, just like Jedi, or even. I'm just gonna call him Jedi because that's at least something I know how to pronounce. One more Tetris here to Yelena once again. Jedi setting up. And of course, if you like what you see, we do have a Matcherino. I'm not fully sure if it's updated. Earlier it didn't look like it would be updated. But in general, we have a Matcherino that feel free to check it out. We of course also are a Twitch affiliate, which means you can subscribe for free if you have Twitch Prime. The Matcherino does support the players if you use your builds or if you use some subscription, free or paid, that supports the restreamers, so people like me who, I mean, just do the tech part and talk a ton. Yeah, it's 435 for Yelena, 506 here for Jedi, so Jedi elite has increased a bit here. And as we know, this is match point for Jedi, meaning if Jedi manages to win this game, he has won the match and will be in the DAS Champions League, whereas if Yelena loses this game, she will not make it to the DAS Champions League and will play in DAS Europa League this season. Yeah, sport once again being quite high here before the transition. Please longbow for Yelena. Please give her longbow. Okay, she gets the bar for the right side. Left side gets the LPs. Does work out quite okay so far for Yelena here on the transition. Oh, didn't put in the LPs as I expected. I felt like that was a bit of a mistake, but it's working out so far for her. The LPs here not the best piece that Yelena could have gotten. And we can see the SPs Mistop here in the center of the stack. This is gonna make it quite tough to get pieces over to the right. Okay, LPs Mistop to the left on Yelena's side. 457, which means Yelena has topped out and therefore lost the game and match. Congratulations, Jedi, for winning the game match. Yelena is saying, no, I was trying to play safe to have a good transition and it didn't work. GG. That sadly is the case far too often, which, I mean, I'm a bad player. I'm much worse than you when playing Tetris. Trust me 100%. So what I'm saying now doesn't, you know, mean that it's actual recommendation for you. But what I do when I'm playing NTSC and I'm getting to the transition, like 15, 20, 25 lines before the transition, I'm like, okay, now let's fully focus just on being clean and to not make any mistakes here. Jedi and Yelena saying GG's, also Artix saying GG's. Yes. And yeah, we can take a look now at the current bracket. When it updates, it should update. Yeah. Let's refresh it. Okay, it's now updated. Perfect. Yelena saying good luck in DCL. Well, actually saying DCI, but it's DCL for the Champions League. And Jedi saying you're one of the most consistent players I've faced. And yeah, Yelena is a pretty consistent player. So she is someone to look out for when you play against her. And we can see now the current standings being... I reported the game incorrectly. Oops. It's 4-2, not 2-4. It's now correct again. Sorry for this small mistake in the bracket. Yeah, it's now correct. Perfect. Jedi is in the DAS Champions League. Congratulations. And Jedi also saying, my OBS says 10% drop frames. That's a ton. Okay, let's see if Shuichi and Curi are in the chat. I see Shuichi, I don't see Curi, so I would say let's have a short commercial break here while I try to get Curi ready. So see you in around about 30 seconds again. I believe we should be back now. And are saying the big stream, and Yelena earlier saying, thanks Jacob for the VIP pass, you are very much welcome. And yeah, I believe this is gonna be the longest stream here on Death Tattoos ever. Planned for around about 5 hours, does depend on how long Shuichi and Kurio take to get ready. I mean, Shuichi is already streaming, which means he should be ready. Always saying should and not is, because you never know for sure. And here we can see the comment bracket here, so I don't think I have to show it again, of course. It's always taking too long to get stuff ready, but in this case it's kinda okay. Because we are waiting on some kind of words here from Kurio. You know, in the chat here on Discord, wherever it works out the best for him. Maybe he is live on Twitch and I'm just not seeing it. That of course can always be the case. But no, I don't see anyone live here in the category of Tattoos other than players already here. And I don't see him in the Twitch viewers. I pinged him on Discord earlier. And of course he also agreed on the 19 UTC, which is now match. So let's just wait when he is ready. In the meantime, I would say we can take a quick look over here at Shuichi's side. At least him warming up here. You can see Shuichi on the left, showing us a bit of level 19 play. Of course, Shuichi, I would say, is in the nowadays top German death players, or one of them at least. You know, not the top 3 or something like that, but still in the high level, which means I expect Shuichi to perform well here. Admittedly, I haven't seen Kurio play that much before. But he won like 4-2 against Weißbrot, which means he will be a challenge here for Shuichi. And of course, Shuichi will also be a challenge here for Kurio. Let's see who will be able to win there. I would normally say that so far only the players in the like upper round, so round 2, not round 1, who joined in round 2, have won their pre-eliminations fully, but that's not the case because Levi lost against Jacobo before. So yeah, let's see if maybe Kurio will be the second person to show us a small upset, winning against Shuichi here. That is definitely a possibility. Hannah saying Curi has been gone for a long time before these. Yeah, I haven't been in the global scene for that long. It's not that deep. That explains why I don't know him that well, at least. I remember them playing in 2021, yeah. And at that time I was in the Tetris scene, but I didn't really watch the online stuff. Just, you know, mostly the CTWC events and some of the big online tournaments, but not much else. There was just too much stuff happening that sadly didn't allow me to focus on Tetris as much as I have liked to. Here we can now see on Shuichi's side, not the best 18, like 280 on a, not the best 19, 218 on a 90 start. Kinda suffer 19 start, to be honest, so far. But if you can get like 200, 300k on every single 19 game, then that's gonna put you into a nice position. Not into, you know, maxing out every single game, but at least a decent position. And do we see any sign of life here from Kurio? I don't. Oh, I also, of course, forgot to update anything in there on earlier Jedi's Twitch site. Let's see if I can see someone. In the Twitch category, Snowy, Shuichi, Kingsman, and of course also CTL and Des Tetris. Shuichi saying, by the way, I have a CTW Des cartridge, so the hertz counters on the bottom right corner. Yeah, that is correct. How do I fix that? How the heck do I fix that? That's a good point. I guess I have to do some more surgery. I have no idea about how to fix that, by the way. But I mean, I have your hertz counter here open on my side, so I can see it, which hopefully is good enough. At Hannah and at Boxy, if you're here. If me seeing the hertz counter is not good enough, and we need to see it on the Des Tetris stream as well, then please tell me, because then I will need to adjust the scenes a bit. Yeah, as long as you can see it. Okay, perfect. Then I will not touch the scenes. But that's a good point that we need to think about. If we just do like a CTW Des cartridge, non-CTW Des cartridge, something like that. Also, talking about we need to figure out what to do is Curio. Man, who is he? He is D&D on Discord. Let's DM him. Hello, DCL. Prelims were supposed to start 8 minutes ago. How is it going on your side? Let's kindly DM him on Discord, because I would hate to have some actions taken because someone is not able to appear on time. I mean, they agreed on the match a couple of days ago. Actually, like a week ago, I think. So we're now at about the 10-minute point. Dope-de-dope-de-dope-de-dope. And we are just waiting here. Giovanni saying go Shuichi. I mean, currently Shuichi is doing amazingly well because his opponent has yet to show up. So I can just do this so that we no longer see the incorrect here. At 15, if there's no response, it will unfortunately be a forfeit. Okay, then let me make sure to ping the DEL players who are supposed to play around 20 UTC. So let's do an at RC IXS at Lipton. There might be a no-show from Curi. Could you play at 1915 potentially? Also at who was it? Microway and 20 Dan. You might also, yeah, if possible, you can also play at Microway at Oh, information to you as well. We are currently waiting for someone and might have to start the DL matches earlier or do another stream on this DG2 if neither of you can play early and the no show happens. Hannah's saying, oh hey, that's a Mystic Cave remix. Is it? I'm listening to my own music, which is why I never hear the stream music. Yeah, it is, I believe. I'm just having a ton of music. Some of them are remixes, some of them are original music. All of that is free to use. And all of that music is like, you don't have to credit me on stream, but I would appreciate it if you do it. So it's, you know, it's allowed. But that's why I pinged earlier a couple of, I think it's like a week ago already, in the Super Streamers channel, if maybe we wanna change the scenes to allow showing the current track played on stream as an optional information. But so far I haven't gotten a definite yes or no. So yeah. Let's see if Coolio will show it at some point. I don't believe that anyone else has heard anything from him. He is pinged on Discord and he got DM'd on Discord, so that's all I can do. Small information in case there's in case RXS and Lipton, okay, Lipton can play early, so if I get another reply here from RXS, then we can play their match first so that we have as many of the pre-eliminations, at least finals here on the Dash Tetris 1 channel. Yeah, I'd asked Boxy about that. I don't work the scenes. And I just follow what's, you know, done, like the way of doing it here on Dash Tetris. If it's Boxy and maybe Adam who do the scenes, then I will wait for them to do the scenes. I just told them that, you know, it might be nice. I mean, you saw it in the chat. I don't have to explain what I told you there. Okay, but it looks like we will unfortunately get a no-show here from our American player Coolio, which, I mean, luckily for Shuichi means that he will easily get into Dash Champions League, or will sadly mean that there won't be much of the match here. And Coolio, in his return to Tetris, you could kind of say, yeah, sadly did a no-show. Shuichi's saying no. Yeah, it's like that, honestly. It does feel like that. I mean, there's still 1 to 2 minutes left. I'm gonna wait to 16 past. Lipton, do I have to go live? Feel free to. I'm still waiting for a reply from RXS. If I don't get that in the next few minutes, then I would just say, you know, we do a second stream on Dash Tetris 2 later, so that we at that point have Dash Tetris 1 and 2 separated again into Champions League and Europa League. My original plan was like, oh heck yeah, we have 3 matches here on Dash Champions League, and then we have the final matches of the Dash Europa League prelims. That is amazing content here for DT1, but I'm not gonna wait a potential 40 minutes for players to show up. It's now 1/4 past. Which means thanks so far for everyone who was in the chat and who showed up on time to play and to be entertained by watching the stream. I'm waiting for the replies from RXS. That's us. Hey, are you? Let's DM RXS by chance ready to play. Because they said 19 UTC is when they can start. It is now a bit past 19 UTC, so I'm gonna wait until like 20 past. Yeah, if you can until 1920, we will start your match early. No show. If not, we will do a second stream on DT2 at 20 UTC as originally planned. So also for you, Lipton, we will wait until 20 past for XS to reply. So far it is a no-show forfeit, so 4-0 for Shuichi. So I guess congratulations Shuichi for sweeping Coolio in this amazing match. Woo! It was so exciting to see. As we now have a 4-0. Yeah, Hannah, I've reported it 4-0 in the sheet for now. And yeah, DMJ also saying amazing, for real. The most amazing match ever. Coolio no-show, exactly. It was a no-show from Coolio. He was pinged earlier on the announcement. He agreed on the time. He was pinged and DM'd at like 8 minutes past the scheduled time. And no reply so far. And Hannah just confirmed the forfeit in Discord in the DAS Champions League scheduling channel, which you might not see. I've been saying Shuichi swept Coolio in a few seconds. Yeah, he did, you know, he just was so focused that Coolio was too scared to show up. And yeah, that's just what sadly happens sometimes. Nice teasing, by the way, from Shuichi. Also, we can see Shuichi just play 19 pretty well here. That's why I said that he is one of the high-level German DAS Tetris players. Not the highest level, that's always gonna be people like, you know, Mark Migas, for example. But still high level. It also looks like RXS cannot play early. Which means that, let me look who's currently live on Twitch in the Tetris category. Yeah, it's only CTL apparently. Lipton saying Czech is also pretty good. Yeah, that's why I said people like, for example, Mark Migas. I didn't just want to mention all of the good players because then I would probably have to list like 4 or 5, something like that. As we have a ton of amazing German DAS players, or like German speaking DAS players. When I say German, I always mean like Germany, Switzerland and Austria, by the way. Yeah, it's a bit not correct, but I don't know the equivalent of Dach, which means Deutschland, Österreich, Schweiz and German essentially. I don't know what the equivalent is in English. So sorry if I ever offend anyone by that. Jedi saying the way he's playing now, Shuichi probably would have won a match against Coolio anyway. Yeah, 90% chance I would say. Okay. It's also Dach. Ah, good to know. Doesn't make sense because the D is, you know, Germany, it's Dach, Deutschland, and then it's Austria, and CH is what? Schweiz, Switzerland? I have no idea. Maybe it's Switzerland and Schweizerdeutsch. Chuchi saying gas equals Dach and the stinky cheese. Okay, so it's now 20 past the time that I had for XS to be here. Just potentially play early. Now over. CH is Switzerland. Yeah, I know. L is Liechtenstein, most likely. But yeah, I don't want to. Now we have 22 viewers. What the heck? Sorry, but the stream is effectively over because of. Oh, RXS said. Okay, hello, I'm here. Okay, perfect. So let's get a look at the brackets so far. And we can see that we have the DCL Champions League on top finished. And our 4 people who made it into the DCL Champions League are the Jedi, Shuichi, Somalian, and Jacobo. The other players sadly didn't make it into the DCL Champions League, being Yelena, Julio, Somalian, Eliva, Yelena, I mentioned Yelena, Curi, Weißbrot, Nguyen, and Guerrero. That's a weird name to pronounce. Trevor saying no Canadians. Yeah, sadly no Canadians. Okay. So it looks like Lipton is still ready and live. Perfect, because now we need to prepare this match up here between RXS and Lipton. Okay, so because admittedly I wasn't prepared fully for all of this. Oh, Lipton is from Poland. Interesting. One more Polish player that I know. I know a ton of Polish players somehow. I don't know from where I know them, I just know them. I know where I know them because, you know, the CTWC DAS is, or at least was, partly organized by the Polish community as well. The first, for example, was a lot done by the Polish players. From the second onwards, when we moved to the Experian location, we had a lot done by the local staff of the Experian. So yeah, now we are no longer doing that much, but we still have, of course, a ton of contact because we are just close. Okay, let me get properly ready here for RXS now. Okay, RXS saying something in the chat here as well. Of course, welcome to the chat back again. Lipton, wait, if I lose, then my ass is down to DCL Conference League. Exactly. That's how it is. My messages here weren't coming through my phone. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, sadly. Okay, looks like both players are ready. So, I mean, we're not in the Champions League. We all know that we are now in the Europa League. But we're still gonna do it here. So let's enjoy the intro movie. Yeah, so we can see Lipton had to play against Winter and won there. RXS had to play against this and that and won there, which means we are now in the first finals of DCL Europa League. On the left, we have Lipton. On the right, we have Chios? I don't know, man. Oh, Lipton is doing 18 B-type starts. 18, I don't know what that is. 18, hopefully 18.5, I don't know. Oh yeah, this and that was having issues, no controller, no. That sucks. Lipton saying, give me a moment, sure. I mean, we are now ahead of the schedule by half an hour. Here's also your seat to properly play. Yeah, in case RXS here and Lipton are capable of a hand cam, we love hand cams. They are not mandatory in Europa and Conference League. But yeah, if you happen to be capable of them. You know, just a kind question, not a you have to do it. High quality hand cam that we got on RXS's side. That's gonna be a tough name to pronounce. I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna do my best to butcher it as much as I can. You know, that's just what I do. Okay. Also level choice wise, I would love an 18 all the way, and that's definitely not because I never know the level choice rules. Definitely not, you know. Like, so, yeah, level choice. I believe you have 15 and 18. Yeah, it's 15 or 18. But please do either 15 or 18 all the way. That would be highly appreciated by me. Other than that, let's check if your seats are correct. B6, B8, 6A, B6, B8, 6A. That's a weird seat. And welcome in the chat, Siler. Damn, 2 of my goated people. Happy to hear that. And yeah, Lipton is ready, so we're just waiting for RXS here to also get ready to, you know, also level choice again. 15, 18, 18 all the way. I mean, Lipton said 18 all the way. We just need confirmation from RXS that they are also ready for an 18 all the way. So let's see what RXS will say here. And once we get the hopefully second 18 all the way confirmation, 18 is fine. Perfect, so start the game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Siler saying fine and fire. Exactly, that's what Dash Tetris is about. Fine and fire stuff. Fine and fire players. Michael is saying, hello, can't wait for my own all British matchup. Let's hope that we will be able to do it here on time. Because Dan hasn't replied in his matches. I believe we now schedule it back to 21 UTC for reasons of scheduling stuff. Jedi saying EA players who actually showed up for the match, and you know what? Ahead of the scheduled time, so these players were more than just prepared to play. Well, okay, RXS had to... I nearly said skip lunch, but kind of hurry back from lunch, so let's see how well RXS will be able to play and how well Lipton will be able to play. Okay, Lipton now getting a bit high here, gets longer over. Nicely played here by Lipton. As we can see, no next Tetris ready here for Lipton. 60k for Lipton, 50k here for RXS. So it is currently pretty neck and neck between these two players. But Lipton has played 5 lines more, which, considering that RXS is now Tetris ready, could mean that RXS will be able to get the lead here. Next Tetris here to RXS, well, the pace lead I mean. And yeah, now clean stacks on both sides. Of course, this is not the highest level Tetris that we can see. That's, you know, that generally here in the DAS Champions League. But these players still managed to get into the DAS Europa League. Okay, Lipton skipping the JTAG there. Now needing a suboptimal burn setup, which has put him at a 1 high Tetris position. Gets long one Tetris. And yeah, I wanted to say not the highest level Tetris, that is possible, but I would say that we should expect these players to be capable of 18 all the way. Maybe 19 is a bit of an issue, but 18, you know, these are the next generation of pro DES players, so 18 is not gonna be any issue at all. I remember when I had the match with Winter and they were like, I have no effing idea why I'm in the DES Europa League Prelims. That's definitely not the case here. Okay, it's 162 for Lipton against 136 here for RXS. Next long one Tetris to Lipton. Also a small fun fact, you most likely saw in the slideshow at the beginning, the Classic Tetris Eliminator tournament or event, which will happen, I believe, next week, Sunday again is planned. That one is organized by Lipton, our Polish player here. Fun fact over. Okay, we have a 1 Tetris lead here now for Lipton, next Tetris to Lipton here. RXS taking a couple of small burns here. 214 against 169. Early shift here of that L piece, I believe, of Lipton. Or maybe it was a late shift because he wanted to put it over 2 spots. So it was an early shift into an overshift into early shift situation, just kind of weird. Which means that Lipton is burning a bit here, and that could allow RXS to get the lead. And yeah, 219 against 216, Lipton is still burning. Once again, a small mischief here of that red S piece on Lipton's side. Low enough to not be in immediate dangers here. but also not a position that you want to be in. We can now get the next Tetris for RxS, and RxS now being in the lead. 231 for Lipton against 263 now for RxS at about the same lines. Actually, now the same lines. 234 against 286, which means quite the big lead here now for RxS. It was at the same lines, about a 50k lead. So 2.5 Tetris lead here in pace currently for RxS. Lipton needs to burn the double once again here, whereas RxS is in a nice position, gets longer Tetris to RxS, and one more Tetris here to Lipton. We are slowly but surely approaching the level 19 transition. Next Tetris here to Lipton. Once again, Jedi saying close call for Lipton. That happened a bit ago, but yeah, Lipton, I would say today is playing quite well. I've seen him play in a bit before, not that much admittedly. I feel like today is one of his better days. Or maybe he just improved until I saw him play the last time, which is like a month or two ago, I believe. And yeah, we're now down to about 20 lines before the level 19 transition. Both boards looking mostly good here. You can see 355 here for Lipton against 387 here for RxS. So RxS is still ahead, but depending on how well Lipton will be able to play 19 here, this should be pretty winnable game still for Lipton. I'm mentioning that because we are no longer in the Champions League, we're now down to Europa League, where we shouldn't expect everyone to play good 19. Also, if you look at RxS's board, you can see that there's a bit of trouble happening. Next Tetris to Lipton to 414, just one Tetris away. RxS at 416, 7 lines, so potentially 2 Tetrises away. Lipton skips the Tetris for a longboard dependency, is now quite high, doesn't take the triple as well, now takes the Tetris into safety double, at least takes the safety double. Left side still quite hard to access. Wants a flat burn setup, most likely, does get the LPs over for the flat burn. Okay, nice, but now it's getting higher and higher. Okay, no longbar, and that's a top out for Lipton at 442. Lipton currently ahead against RxS, who's at 427, which means RxS needs to catch up about 16k here, which should be possible. RxS is no situation where he will get, where they will need a single Tetris here. Just lining out will be enough. Also, if I offend anyone accidentally by using incorrect pronouns, I don't do that on purpose, because I don't even know most people's pronouns anyways. So I can't even do it on purpose. I do my best, so please don't be, upset if I do anything incorrect there. Also, RxS is now ahead of Lipton in points, which means RxS is able to win the first game here. And yeah, it is 1-0 for RxS. And thanks Moobot for posting the Discord invite link. We will now increase the seed to C7, so the first 2 characters, as we do in, I would say, all events. Both players are ready for their second game, so let's start their second game now in 3, 2, 1, Tetris! Lipton is started, RxS starts a couple of seconds later. But yeah, let's hope that Dan will see the messages in time and that we can finish up the preliminations here in a row on DAS Tetris 1. Because then we know who has made it into the... Well, we already know who has made it into the DAS Champions League, but then we will also know who made it into the DAS Europa League. Of course, we have the 3 divisions being DAS Champions League, which is the highest level here in DAS Tetris. I believe it's open if you have at least a max out as your PB, and where the highest level is happening, then we have the DAS Europa League, which is for people below a PB of a 1.1, and then we have Conference League, which is meant for players below a 600k, and you know, for these, let's call them edge cases, which are somewhere in between. For example, we have the preliminations to determine if they fit into the Champions, Europa or Conference Leagues. The current standings are 102 for Lipton against 79 here for RxS, so Lipton is able to get a small and nice early lead here. RxS now having the JP's dependency, closed the well here. Didn't use the OPs to get ready, would have liked that, even if that would have opened up a kinda weird longbow dependency, but that now instead got the Tetris and forces a bit longer cleanup process. But you know, that's kinda just calculating which risk and rewards you want and kinda also can take. But yeah, we can see 173 for Lipton, 114 for RxS. Lipton getting the next Tetris here, also a nice tuck. RxS wants to set up the next Tetris, but instead needs to burn a couple of lines here. And here we can see now RxS being properly open. And I just realized that Lipton isn't showing us the input and hertz display. Technically the games don't count, but we can see that it, you may know Lipton isn't capable of tapping or rolling or anything like that. But still, I'm gonna remind him to turn that on for the next game or the next games. Just something that I forgot to take a look at. I need to get into the mindset that we are now in the Europa League, where people are not that experienced using the full rule set, because it's a bit more complex than it is for nearly every other format. Because you know, here we have the please use your hand that you don't have to, but you should show like the hertz input, the input display, and so on and so on. Yeah, as I said, on the side you can see that's DAS. Next set is to Lipton, 337 against 201. So yeah, RxS so far having quite the suffer game here. Just as I said that, of course Lipton also does a couple of misdrops here. But yeah, RxS, as it looks now, will most likely have to catch up on 19 speeds. Which, while possible, not that easy. Okay, Lipton now has the perfect setup for an L-Tag. Does he get the LPs in time? No, he doesn't. Decided to put down the TPs and start cleanup, which, considering that the LP still isn't here, was the correct decision. Maybe he wanted to spin the TPs instead, of course. Then, of course, it was a 2 spin. But in general, the idea of at some point being like, okay, I'm no longer going for the dependency, and instead we'll try to find a more less dependent way of cleanup is generally good. Especially because if you know statistics, it's never guaranteed that at some point you will get a specific piece. It's just that the expected piece at some point is more likely, as in statistically, you know, if you have 500 pieces and there's no LPs, that chance is so small that doesn't happen that often, but it's still 1 in 7 for every single piece. I hope I explained that well enough, because mathematics is hard to explain in a non-native language, in my opinion. Much harder than, for example, chemistry or IT or something like that. Next set is here to Lipton and to 405 against 348 here for RxS. Next set is here to RxS once again. Lipton now doing a bit of a cleanup. The scores are also much closer than they were before, as Lipton had to burn quite a lot. Next set is to RxS again. Next set is to Lipton again. But yeah, the 18th place of these players that I'm seeing, this is, I would argue, pretty high level Tetris. Like, these players, I believe the Conference League was up to 600k PBs, and I feel like these players could get above 600k in this game alone, depending on how their level 19 goes, of course. But yeah, 600k is kinda when you expect players to be able to play some 19, because you know, you kinda need level 19 for that, or like the skills to play 19. better set, because you can of course get the 700k on level 18 speeds. Okay, Lipton at 490, IXS at 436, both players on level 19. Next set is now going to Lipton. And here we can see what I mean. These players are capable of playing nice level 19 so far. Lipton having some small burns here to do, whereas IXS taking the safe triples here. Because if you expect that you can survive much longer than your opponent, playing safe can be the correct decision, even if you're behind about 100,000 points. Because only burning gets you around about 200k, so if you expect your opponent to top out, let's say at like level 21, 22-ish, then you can be like, okay, I'm just gonna go for safe burns instead. Yeah, these players also in theory, of course, on a max out pace still. It's not a likely pace, but in theory it's possible. We see a small misdrop here happening on Lipton's side, which is gonna force him to do some cleanup, which might allow IXS to catch up, but no, he has now 2 small holes on IXS's side in the stack as well. And we can see the cleanup on both sides. I would say that IXS should be open sooner, especially if they are trying to go for the center well now. Looks like potential center well action happening on IXS's side, waiting for the longbar, now taking the safety double instead. Maybe the correct decision, does depend on how comfortable they are on level 19 speeds. It is now 586 against 490, so IXS was able to catch up a bit by burning more efficiently. Because, you know, a triple gets you more points than 3 singles. Which is why a triple burn is not necessarily the worst option that you can do. The IXS will need to go for Tetrises soon. Because if both players land out, then Lipton does have the advantage of 100,000 points here. And the IXS, following my advice, getting the first Tetris here. 613 against 569 now after the next Tetris for IXS. So if IXS can get like 2 more Tetrises, then they should be in the lead. But Lipton just getting their own next Tetris here into 654. Next triple here to IXS once again. And yeah, Lipton already buffed the 600k Conference League recommendation, let's say it like that. Getting high once the longbar, doesn't get the longbar in time because of the overshift of that gray SPs, which means IXS now needs to chase down 655. 655 is the goal that IXS has to achieve. Now on level 27, so it's a bit tight getting the Tetris here. That was needed, and I believe a second Tetris is also needed within 10 lines. Possible, but IXS also has a bit of cleanup to do to get into a safe Tetris position. You can try to go for the left well. Let's see if IXS is trying to do that. Okay, now left well set up, doesn't get the longbar over because no press. Okay, longbar, bar, get the bar. Okay, there's no bar for IXS in time, which means tops out at 638, and Lipton wins the game due to the higher points on level 18 speeds. And Yelena is in chat. She lost earlier in the DCL Champions League pre-eliminations, so she sees these players and can already get a bit of an idea of what could be waiting in the DCL Europa League. But yeah, this is still an intense match. IXS saying probably shouldn't have gone for the left well. I mean, I would say the left well wasn't the worst decision if you went a bit more aggressive on the long well, that you just dropped that essentially. If you put that to the left, if you put that long well properly, I believe that could have worked out. Yeah, both players here ready, so let's start the next game. It's gonna be a 3-2-1 Tetris. And Lipton mentioning, I would have, but I misshifted or says, yeah, I know. That's what I meant. If you would have been able to put that to the left, then would have been fine, but you sadly weren't able to, which made it not necessarily a bad decision, but a bad execution. Also, Lipton just said, whoever loses here wins DCL Conference League. I have no idea who's currently in the DCL Conference League, but let's say it. That's high possibility, because the two of you are showing us some nice Tetris action here. But don't forget that we have the pre-eliminations between Mikaway and Dan as well happening planned after this match, in reality scheduled for 21 UTC, so in a bit over an hour. And I've yet to get a reply from Dan about potentially playing early. Maybe I'm gonna DM him as well. You know, today I'm the most annoying Tetris streamer ever. I'm just pinging and DMing everyone. Kinda like that. Okay. But what I want to say about Dan is having like a 1.2 BB nearly, so it's not guaranteed that you will win the DAS Conference League if you lose here, and Dan also happens to lose against Mikaway. Okay, let's focus on the game here. Lipton is in a bit dangerous position here as high, but finds the pieces to burn. Nice single burn position here for Lipton as well. Doesn't get the perfect pieces now, because now it's gonna be a bit tough to get something to cut him one. Does get the flat burns here, perfect. Okay, but no, the pieces for Lipton a bit tough. Once again, getting something to cut him 1-2 is gonna be pretty tough. Gonna require a quick tap, doesn't get the piece for that. Which means Lipton, after the amazing second game here, doing a, skull game, as Lipton is now calling it. Oh, and Mikaway just did the ping, the next ping for Dan. Dan is just getting pinged like 20 times today. Jedi saying really bad pieces. Does feel like that at least. So Lipton, please make sure that your Hertz and input display are turned on. Hertz and input display. Technically the games so far don't count, because I believe you hadn't turned them on at some point. So make sure that Hertz and input display is turned on. Yeah, perfect. Of course they were turned on all the time. We just didn't see them. Okay, so the seed is E9, B8, 6A, E9, B8, 6A. E9? We're already at E9? Yeah, we are. E9, B8, 6A, E9, B8, 6A. Looks good on both sides. And Dan just said, okay, so I guess we can expect Dan to also forward the other messages, so let's start their next game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Both players have started, but RxS. Okay, so this is a serious question. Oh, it was a level 8 start. I was like, what the heck did you do? Okay, but no. Lipton, let's do a restart using not E9, but FA. Yeah, FA. The level 8 start, I mean, it just happens. It has happened with the best of us. Let's be honest. So FA, FAB. Fun work story I can do about that. Let's start the next game. Hopefully now 18 start in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. So small fun fact. At work there's a project called FAB, FAB, whatever. And there we had to do some maintenance on the 1st of January, which turned into like 6 hours of work. And work, I mean, essentially just 3 hours of waiting for people to actually reply, because they were like, oh, I'm gonna send you the stuff at 10 AM. And then they sent it like 1 PM. And then I started like a script, and I was just having it run, but it was still work time. So small fun fact about that. FAB. Also a nice Witz I just missed on RxS's side. That's what I do the best, you know, missing Witzes, missing amazing spins and stuff like that. Simply because I talk a bit too much off topic maybe. Okay, we can now see once again, for example, an L-tag, no longer an L-tag, but now a spin of the blue SPC on Lipton's side. Next spin as well, so having 2 small holds there in the stack. But starting a cleanup, point-wise it is 58 for Lipton against 92 for RXS. Lipton now setting up the 1 high Tetris well, whereas RXS, as you can see, is pretty much, or was pretty much clean, and is now also in a bit of cleanup situation, whereas Lipton is playing the 1 high quite nicely here. I said, and now, oh, Lipton didn't spin that L piece, which means a bit tougher cleanup now here for Lipton. RXS currently behind by a couple of thousand points, but should be able to get the Tetris readiness and the Tetris soon. Boxy changed. Thank you. Thank you. There's Europe, I said Europa League all the time. I did not forget to change that. Totally not. T-spin for Lipton. Thanks, Boxy, for mentioning that. Sadly, I can't switch the scenes while streaming. If I could have switched my scene selection, I also would have switched over to the last set with 2. Boxy, I don't remember being different. Yeah, exactly. It was always this Europa League. But yeah, as you saw, we are trying to, or I was trying to do all the pre-elimination matches here. Was trying to do because we had a small no-show, so we can't do all of them. But at least you have the results of all of them, because the no-show, of course, is a forfeit in this case, according to Hannah. It's tough when names exist in your native language and in a different language, because then I always pronounce them in my native language. Just how Americans always will pronounce me Jacob instead of Jakob, even though it's, you know, it's funny, it's funny. Let's focus on the game. 169 for Lipton, 209 for RXS, up to 191 here for Lipton. So there's pretty much a neck and neck situation here, and RXS has played a bit less in lines, so in that regards it's a small lead here. Lipton once again going for the Alta, getting the OPs into JPs into OPs, which works out perfect here. And yeah, that means that Lipton doesn't need to burn more than he at minimum needs to. We can see the next set is now for RXS into 279 and 261 here for Lipton. Next Autark here for RXS. So yeah, the board's not perfect state-wise, like we have the longboard dependency here for RXS currently. Double longboard dependency now, but got the longboard just when, like saw the longboard in the next box, just when setting up the next longboard dependency. So yeah, on Lipton's side we also have a bit of a dependency here for that J piece, which now is turned into a dirty Cadem 8 Tetris setup, like too high. Getting the Tetris here, I mean it's too high, and the high pressure on the hole is in Cadem 10, which is perfectly fine. Just nice to well transition now to 0 height here on Lipton's side. Next Tetris for RXS, next Tetris to Lipton, 357 against 316. You know, most of these games are pretty great here. We had one early top out, but other than that, we have had 2 great games, and we're now into the second great game so far, the third great game so far. So let's hope that we won't get a second potato game later. Next set is Lipton, 382 for Lipton against 341 here for RXS. Lipton looks like setting up the next Tetris here now, whereas RXS needs to burn a few lines here. Does get the OPs a bit too late, and now has a J dependency, and Cadem 2-3 gets the J piece. And next Tetris to Lipton. RXS could try to go for a center well here. Not the nicest position for that, and yeah, instead RXS is trying to clean this up. Jedi saying, been a good match so far. Definitely been a good match here so far. I would say a higher level match than I've seen in the DCL prelims. Well, maybe not a nicer match, but you know, a similar level match. The 19 generally was better, but here the 18 is high level 18. I mean, we have a 500k transition here for Lipton coming up. RXS also getting most likely a 400k transition. RXS's board now being a bit rougher, yeah, and 522 transition here for Lipton. Huge transition for Lipton. RXS burning a bit here now, getting not quite a 400k transition, which means just like in the one match game earlier, where Lipton then topped out on like level 25, I believe it was. IXS is currently behind by over 100,000 points. Which, yeah, means IXS will need to catch up a lot. So the best shot of getting Tetris is on IXS's side, but so far only Lipton got a Tetris. IXS not, and yeah, Lipton is not taking safety burns. These safety burns work out nicely, and I just got ATM from Curi, a bit too late, like about an hour too late, to be honest. That apparently, I don't know, he just said OMG, WTF, sorry. Not much I can do there, but yeah. Unfortunate happening on Curio's side. Probably missed like some time zone issue. But yeah, 582 now for Lipton. 526 here for IXS. And as DJM is saying, this seed is fab as in fabulous. Definitely. This is a nice seed so far. Even a really nice seed. Yeah, 171 lines, 166 lines, so level 23, 22 respectively. Lipton are getting a bit dirty here. This is kind of what we saw in the first game, where IXS had to chase down quite a lot on level 19 speeds. But in this game, Lipton is able to get clean again. Or at least a bit cleaner, not fully clean currently. Yeah, IXS might be now not going for the dirty Tetris. The O and Longbar came in the incorrect order. The different order, like first O, then Longbar. I assume that IXS would have went for the dirty Tetris setup. Didn't move the T-piece, basically a dead drop of that T-piece here. Okay, this is more cleanup here on RXS's side. Such a tough name to pronounce, by the way. And yeah, right side for RXS is gonna be pretty much tough to access, but got the LPs. Oh no, the S and T and one more S, Z piece. Forcing RXS to top out, and Lipton is able to get the 2-2 here. Meaning that we, yeah, the original best of 7 now is essentially down to a best of 3. RXS staying pretty close to PB base. I don't know Lipton's PB, to be fair. I know that it's a pretty high PB, like around max out place, I believe. I'm not like 100% sure. Exclamation mark PB 850. It's only 850, wasn't much high. I had like 950 in mind. Oh heck. Oh, Lipton, let's go. Please, bar, okay. Bar. Fuck yeah. Sorry, but this is PB and comp PB for Lipton. Congratulations on that. And yeah, Lipton also stating the chat where I just said, and all of these GG, Sodis and so on in the chat. Well played, Lipton. Congratulations on the new PB. Amazingly well played here. Staying calm until the end, getting the final Tetris, and with that, succeeding in this game. RXS saying, yeah, I wasn't winning that game. Definitely. Lipton asking it now. I mean, setting the PB. And getting a potato game. So realistically speaking, your next game is going to be like a 20, maybe 50,000 point top out. Let's see if you can win this game. RXS saying my PB is only 840. You're pretty good. You were at essentially the same PB and still it's only like a Tetris difference. So the 30k difference in PB at this level, I would say you are really neck and neck, and you can see that it's 2-2. So let's start the next game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. And when you're this close in PB, then of course that means that it kinda boils down to your current form and consistency. Especially consistency, I would say, because, you know, if you can get the 840k ones, or like the 870k in Lipton's case, and then after like 20 games you don't get 100k, you're gonna lose against someone who gets 800k once, and then all the other games 700k. Jedi saying, okay, let's get APB for RxS now. I would love that to be the case, so let's hope that RxS will be able to get an UPB here as well in this match. Double PB in one match. That's not something that we have often. It's even quite rare, I would say. Next set is now to Lipton. RxS's game. Not the best. RxS here in the start, not getting a single Tetris here. 15 lines, 15k. Finally the first Tetris. Against Lipton at 96k. But here we are just in the beginning, the first 20 lines of level 18. So we have about 100 lines of 18 left to go, and then of course 100 lines of 19. Assuming that we once again will get a game where at least one of these players gets to level 29. And at level 29, basically no one can play anymore because the speed is just so fast. So yeah, let's see how this game will go. Lipton once again on a good pace here, the 145 so far, now up to a 168. Against RxS is now 69, nice. This is about a 90k lead here for Lipton. Lipton's board also now getting a bit of trouble here, which means Lipton will need to burn a bit. Whereas RxS's center is also high, so also a bit of burning here still on RxS's side. Now, yeah, as Jedi said, the S-Burst. Ted longbow dependency here for RxS, now into a J, LPs and longbow of course dependency. Nicely transitioned into SZ burns here though on RxS's side. Lipton is also still cleaning this up, so we have a long burning sequence here for both of these players. And we can see here on RxS's side that the board is getting a bit higher now. Also on Lipton's side. Lipton's board actually looking quite dangerous now. Left side once, for example, an OPs gets the JPs. One more JPs for the left side. JPs flat. Top out for RxS here after not getting the JPs over. Lipton also topping out. RxS saying kinda awful seat. That's why both of you topped out at essentially the same point. But Lipton was ahead, which has allowed Lipton to win this game. Not 33-2, it's 3-2. And that means that next up is gonna be Lipton's match point. RxS saying too bad, an absolute choke at the start. Yeah, that was a huge choke. But that's just what classic Tetris is like and what makes it a lot of fun, at least in my opinion. Okay, both players are ready. So let's start the next game, the match point for Lipton in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Both players have started, and we have just crossed also the 3-hour mark of actual commentary here on the stream. And in the fourth match, we are now in the potentially last game here. First Tetris going to Lipton, second Tetris going to RxS, third Tetris also going to Lipton. Yeah, Lipton has played a couple of lines more, a set by about a Tetris. Next Tetris going to RxS, has played a line more, so it's up by about a single. We can also see that Lipton got a bit of push down here in the beginning. And next set is Lipton once again into now 91 against RxS, who will sadly skip the 69 most likely. I mean, if RxS needs to burn so much that the 69 will happen in points. Tough start again, but no, next set is here once again to RxS. And should get the 100k at 25 lines, which... I mean, on 18 you want to get 100,000 points on 25 lines to be on a pretty good pace, because then you're like a 500k pace, 500k pace for the 19 transition. So as long as you get the get that, it's generally always decent. Lipton being quite high, gets the JBs over to the left, nice. Gets the longbow, yeah, gets the longbow over, perfect. gets the incorrect SP, so Lipton's side now high doesn't get the SPs over, which means Lipton tops out at 120, losing Des, which is quite as that pun had to be, or like not that pun, that what's it called in English? I don't know. And yeah, as Lipton is saying, we most likely have a bit of a decider time here, so if you have some cider at home, feel free to open it up and drink some cider. If RxS can get to 121, so yeah, RxS, your goal is 121, just a couple of lines left to go. And this double doesn't take it, but this single does, 121, which means we have a 3-2-3. And the last game will be a match point. So Dan and Rickaway, you can get ready for your own match, as that will happen in just one more game. RxS saying, bro, my dash control is actually so bad, I keep misshifting every piece, it's insane. That also comes with a good player in comp, because you need the stamina to play many games in a row. Especially here in DCL, where it's best of 6 or now best of 7. Okay, both players are ready, so let's start their final game in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Whoever wins this will stay in the Europa League. Whoever loses this will move to the Conference League. Okay, both players have started their games, a couple of burns in the beginning for RxS. Lipton getting the pieces required to not get into too big burns. First set was now going into, for Lipton at 25 against RxS at 4,900. So now first set was finally for RxS and second Tetris to Lipton. Both players now being clean. RxS needs this longbow for the Tetris readiness, so one more longbow before the Tetris to RxS, their second Tetris here. Whereas Lipton is now set up for the third Tetris. RxS is once again needing to burn a bit here the 2 lines for the Tetris readiness, so you put them in the orientation, you burn a single like the T piece, so you have the one part to the right, and then you put it into 9-10. Yeah, next Tetris for RxS here. Into 97 against 76, next Tetris to Lipton into 99. So it is neck and neck between these players, whoever gets the Tetris is in the lead, and because we're now at essentially the same piece, now one piece apart. Ooh, and it looks like Lipton? No, Lipton is not able to get a Tetris that RxS isn't able to. Misjudged the game. Jedi saying, these two have okay stacking, they just need to train more to get the better desk control. I do agree on that point. The stacking is mostly decent. I mean, sometimes you have like what happened here on RxS's side, where there is no good place for peace. But that's why I said that we have the new generation of top players, because I have seen at least Lipton play in the past, and Lipton's stacking knowledge seems pretty decent to me. Just, you know, all of the training to get all of the desk control, which is why people like Adam MTS say that you never can trade too much. And nice 3 high column 9 Tetris here for RxS. Basically a 3 high perfect clear for RxS that was. Yeah, that has put RxS in the lead, as it is 184 for Lipton against 200 here for RxS. The first not so great game that was an early top order that we have seen from these players. And even this not so great game is still at about 200k. He had 50 lines at least for RxS. And the point difference is still only 13k. Okay, nice center Tetris here for Lipton. Lipton on the lead. Not on the lead. 214 against 228. Apparently missed Tetris here on RxS side in my mind. Ooh, nice adjustment here on Lipton's side in the second here. Just had to close the value for the longbow, which allows RxS to get a Tetris more, and no, Lipton gets the next Tetris, so that the Yeah, same, near the amount of Tetrises, 239 against 253, still only about a Tetris difference. Now Lipton ahead for just a second as he got the Tetris first. And we can see now a bit of burning here on RxS's side, most likely. But the burning could be done using a longbar. Does the longbar come in time? No, it did not for a bit. Here's now the Tetris for Lipton, Tetris for Lipton, Tetris for RxS. 307 for Lipton, 302 here for RxS. It is neck and neck between these two players. Next Tetris here for Lipton once again into 331. You can see that RxS is now building up the Tetris world here. Does get the TPs, nice, and Tetris here for RxS once again, as we are now in the last 40 lines, or about 10 Tetrises worth of lines into level 18, and after that we will see one more, level 19 potentially. Let's see if we will get to level 19 and how far in level 19 these players will be able to get. Next Tetris to Lipton, next Tetris to RxS. Double burn here for Lipton. Of course, your goal when you're close to the transition is a mix of getting the points required to put your opponent under pressure, as well as staying clean enough to get in, you know, not a top out on level 19 and instead to just stay clean all the game long. Next Tetris here to RxS. Lipton is getting Tetris ready, waiting for the longbar, does get the longbar, so Tetris for Lipton here into 410 against 401, so that's, yeah, neck and neck here. Next Tetris to Lipton. RxS wasn't able to use the longbar, but might be able to use the longbar earlier. No, doesn't look like it for now, but no, yeah, okay, here's not the next longbar. Next Tetris to RxS. Lipton needs a couple of pieces here to get Tetris ready, like for example the J piece that he luckily just got. Will spin the L piece? Yes, spins the L piece. Gets a 435 here. 437 against 430 for RxS. Neck and neck, next Tetris to Lipton. Lipton looking like wanting to get the Tetris readiness using a longbar, but now instead going for the bit safer option where you don't need two longbars. Is now Tetris ready again. RxS's board, as we can see, has a small hole in this text, so the focus now is on getting as clean as possible before the transition here. Lipton looking like wanting to transition now. Yeah, 485 for Lipton, 460 transition for RxS. Next Tetris to Lipton here. So Lipton is now about 50,000 points ahead here of RxS. Next few points here for RxS. Both players now at level 20, so it looks like this level 19 transition worked nicely for these two here. And we can see a bit more burns now happening as, yeah, Lipton is not quite in a situation where you can go for Tetrises, and RxS looks like they are trying to play a bit safer. Lipton is now clean again, RxS is still clean, gets the longbar for the longbar dependency, perfect. And let's see if RxS will try to go for Tetrises once again. Here Lipton going for the triple, okay. RxS cleaning this up a bit now, but not getting the perfect pieces, which means the cleanup will take a bit longer. Fine, was it is 540 against 490, so about a 50k lead here still for Lipton. Nothing has really changed. But what has changed is that RxS's board is getting higher and higher, gets the pieces over to the left, perfect. So the cleanup here on RxS's side is once again going nicely. Now Lipton being a bit higher here, does overshift the L piece. This could be deadly, needs something for the left side. Lipton needs something for the left side, gets the flat burns here, perfect. Still something for the left side needed, and no, Lipton shifts one green S piece, which means RxS here goal is 548, 548, as Lipton, yeah, sadly topped out here after an early shift. And of course also putting the GG's in the chat. GG's also from my side, of course. And RxS is now taking their sweet time here. And this is the second to last match of all preliminations for this season. So yeah, RxS manages to get the last about 15k here. They will be in the Europa League. goal is again 548, 548. Just a few burns you left to do on our axis side, taking it as safe as possible, and that is the match for RXS. So congratulations RXS for winning this game and this match. Of course also GG's for on Lipton for the PB and the amazing match here. It's a 3-4, it was a decider. We saw some great games from both of these players. Jedi also saying good match. I mean, we only had good matches here, I would say. Well, the matches that properly happened were good matches. So let's take a look at the bracket. We had 3 matches. Jedi, Yelena, Curi, that was a good match. We had Jedi versus Yelena, that was a good match. We had Shuichi against Curi, that didn't really happen. We had Lipton against RXS, that also was a good match. And RXS also saying, I'd say that was a really good match. Yeah, it was. It was amazingly well played by the both of you. The two of you. Not the both of you. The both of you is pretty weird way to phrase this. Okay, now we'll get ready for the last eliminations. Being between Mikaway, not Mikaway, and Dan. Did the commercial work, by the way, because I'm not getting any on my side? Huh. Would be funny if I'm now like quiet because I'm like, oh yeah, there's a commercial playing and there's actually no commercial. That would be a bit embarrassing. But let's set up everything as it's supposed to be. Let's give both players their British flag. Meh? Okay, weird. It looks like the advertising just didn't happen at all. Funny. Or maybe just I didn't get it. And yeah, I use the advertisements when I have to prepare the match because it's just easier to do for me. Because then I don't need to talk and focus at the same time. Okay, so let's also get these players their seats. Give these players their seats. The seats is 980275. This is the base seat for Dan and Mikaway. The final match, the double British match even. And yes, we can see the players are here. So let's once again enjoy the opening movie. And here we are, once again back at the final match of all of the preliminations. One of these players will be in the Europa League and one in the Conference League. So let's take a look at Dan versus Mikaway here. If you have a favorite, then of course feel free to chant for them in the chat. Feel free to be like, let's go my Mikaway, or be like, Dan, you are the man, whatever you wanna do. Dan, you are the man is also not that creative, I know. Just show these players your support and how much you love Daz. Of course, as always, feel free to leave a follow, to 2 bits, to do a subscription, whatever works for you. If I see them on stream, which I should, because as far as I know I have the notifications properly implemented, you of course also will get a shout out, and that is a way to support, in this case, the restream, because the Matcherino doesn't seem to be properly updated, but we will surely get the updated Matcherino implemented in both the scene and the chat command soon. And yeah, Mikaway is now getting the seat ready. Dan is probably in the last warm-up game here. Because I would say the favorite of this matchup in theory is Dan. But Dan has not performed as well in his first match as I expected. So let's see how Dan will perform in this match here. As it looks like both players have the correct seat. Yes, looks good. Meaning we are just waiting for the level choice and the ready. Please just do 18 all the way. I prefer 18 all the ways because it makes it easy on my side. Of course, if you want to do 15 all the way or a level choice, also totally fine. Don't pay too much attention to me. Yeah, Mike saying 18 all the way, Dan saying 18 all the way. So let's do an 18 all the way between Dan and Mikaway here. And just waiting for the last, for the two readies here, and we have the readies here. So let's start the game and match in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Okay, Dan has started. And Mikaway has also started. That's an input. All looks good, perfect. And in case you're wondering what is there on Dan's side, it says not reading chat, playing at twitch.tv/DasTetris. Of course, the best channel possible. I'm a bit not so happy about the webcam here being mirrored. Can I do like transform, flip horizontal? I can do that, perfect. Okay, so now you actually have Dan looking in the correct position and the chat also being readable. Nice. Point was at a 69 versus 69, so double nice. You can see that Dan is now setting up for the next Tetris. We can see that Mikaway is Tetris ready, gets the long bar, and Tetris to Mikaway into 91. Dan is waiting for the next long bar, gets a long bar, and Tetris to Dan, and one more to Dan as well. Mikaway gets a Tetris, only getting one long bar. Not only getting one Tetris, not the back-to-back Tetris we had on Dan's side earlier. Mikaway now Tetris ready. Dan burning a bit here to stay low and clean. Gets a long bar and Tetris to Dan. Next Tetris to Mikaway. Next double to Dan here. Not quite Tetris ready due to the left side. And Mikaway gets one more Tetris, and we have 142 for Dan against 161 for Mikaway here. Okay, Dan now burning a bit more. Of course, we are still on 18 speeds here, 100 lines left on 18 speeds. If you need to burn here and fall a bit behind, you can generally make that up on 19 if you are more comfortable on 19 than your opponent is. Jedi saying Dan is a good hyper tapper. I don't know how strong he is with dash. His dash is pretty decent, but I would say it's not quite up there with, you know, with the top players, which is why he isn't playing in Champions League, of course. Mikaway now needs to burn a couple of lines here, because, you know, if you're a top level player, like top level, you are expected to play in the Champions League and not potentially in Conference League. Oh, Mikaway in a bit of dangerous position here. Okay, gets the long bar. Now, much better position here for Mikaway. Hazelnut saying he should have made the top 4 Conference League last season. IMO, I think he could have won the whole thing. Definitely. But let's see how it will go this season, if he will be able to play in Europa League, or if he will once again play in Conference League. 208 for Dan against 230 here for Mikaway. We can see Dan now burning a bit once again. I mean, these players are playing, I would say, quite safe games, but they're both playing safe games, so works out in the end for both of them. Small TP's misstep now here for Mikaway, didn't spin that next Tetris, and one more Tetris now as well. Tetris here to Dan, we have 244 against 285, so Mikaway is in a small lead here, which might change as he's now working on the TP's misstep that happened earlier. Alex saying Weisbrot Skal, I don't know what you mean. Is it like that Weisbrot is a cheater and is technically more of a hyper tapper as well, and somehow played well in the Conference League? Probably something along those lines. No, he won. Yeah, he did. He played well. As I said, he played well in Conference League. Well, okay, I mean, winning and playing well, huh? Yeah, he was on a pool like swept everyone. Okay, that does suck a bit. There's 318 for Dan, 322 for Mick. So it is pretty much neck and neck here. And Alex saying not that Weisbrot swept everyone in his pool except RXS, of course. I mean, we will see about that in the season here, as you're now in good old Europa League. Next Tetris to Dan to 364 against Milkaway at 351. And we can see that the transition is coming up soon, in like 20-25 lines-ish. Meaning that the current boards look like the transition shouldn't be much of an issue, and we can see scoring until the transition. Of course, we don't know what the seed will bring us, just based on what we currently see. And yeah, they're now going for a bit of safety here. Yes, the JP's dependency gets JP's. And welcome in the chat, Pisars. We are now in the final, the last prelimination of this season between Dan and Mikaway. RXS saying, I always like playing players that are better than me, so I'm glad I made it in. Then congratulations for achieving your goal. Yeah, 480. Dan could get a 500k transition, but he will most likely take the safety, so he takes the safeties. So 485, 470, two amazing transitions here. Double nearly 500k. This is much higher than I would have expected, to be honest. Looks like we have players that exceed my expectations of today, and we have a seed that maybe also exceeds my expectations. Small early shift of the TPs though for Makaway. He needs the long bar now. He needs the long bar now. Okay, he does get the SP's long bar, a bit too late. Next long bar. Dan also tops out at 493. Makaway needs only a couple of thousand points more. He is misdropping the next LPs, and Dan manages to win this by having a higher score when topping out. So GG's to Dan for playing well, Makaway, Misshift and lost Daz. That's what takes games. Alex saying, dude, that team Misshift into losing Daz actually was so relatable. That happened so much in the Lipton match. Yeah, it did. But you know, if you know what your issues are, then you can improve from that. Let's start the next game between Dan and Mikaway, as they are both ready in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. RXS also saying, that's why I played so safe. Playing safe is oftentimes a good decision, because, you know, rather play safe and maybe not get that many points than playing aggressive and chopping out early. RXS also saying, this is shaping up to be a good match though. Definitely. The 18s were good on both sides. And yeah, let's see how the 18s will be in this game, and if maybe we can get a bit deeper into level 19 this time. So I would love it if the classic Tetris board had like DAS and non-DAS PBs, more options. Because I feel like most players don't properly do them because of like PB Dan 2003. Also, thanks for the huge raid classic Tetris League of 38 players. Welcome CTL to the DAS Champions League. As you can see, we are here in the preliminations, well, of Europa League, not Champions League. Champions League is already over. And yeah, we have had 3 amazing matches. We had sadly 1 no-show, and we're now in the 4th full match of the evening, about 3.5 hours deep into streaming. So welcome, and thanks Gunther for streaming the CTL earlier, and also thanks for the follow that just happened. RXS saying should have raided during my match. I mean, that also was an amazing match. Join the Jedi side exactly. Point was, it is 88 for Dan, who was in a bit of burning situation against 168 for Mikaway, who is not in a burning situation, can go for as many Tetrises as wanted. And next Tetris here to Mikaway. Small mischief here of that J piece for Dan. This is gonna be now an even longer burn here for Dan. And Point was already behind Jedi, Mike by 100,000 points. It is 99 against 195. So huge point difference at this point. Yeah, and Mikaway can still go for Tetrises here, whereas Dan, as we can see, is having even more burning to do. Mikaway gets the spin, nice. Dan has nearly finished the cleanup required here. And Mikaway getting 1 more Tetris here into 245 against 116. I mean, Mikaway is having a great game so far. It's just that Dan's cleanup here is taking so long, it feels like it's been like 40 lines for the cleanup here to be finished. And it's soon over, just 1 more line in height that he wants to do here. I assume that he wants to get to the bottom of the stack. Next Tetris to Mikaway here into 296 against 128 of Dan. We have played over 70 lines here already of level 18. Next Tetris to Mikaway. And of course for the raiders from CTL, as you can see, it's DAS Tetris, it's DAS Europa League, so obviously DAS only. So compared to roading, where you can just move pieces wherever you want them to be, in DAS it's a bit harder. As you can see, the pieces move much slower, which makes 19 much more of a challenge. So compared to roading, we are getting past, but like, let's say 2 level 29 is pretty much guaranteed. Here it's much harder because of DAS and the limits and everything. I assume you know how it works, and we're gonna get into much more detail. Yeah, 205 here for Dan, 389 here from Mikaway, in a really good position. Next set is here to Mikaway once again. Dan is also Tetris ready, but such a huge deficit, over 200k deficit here for Dan. Mikaway looking like a 500k transition should happen. We talked about that a bit before. If you get the 100k per 25 lines, you get the 500k transition, which is pretty much doable on most seeds unless you get like huge droughts. And Berrytoad is doing the, what's that? It's Burrito 69, pork and stuff like that. Interesting. Doing some DAS emojis here in the chat. Of course, feel free to leave a subscription here to the channel that gives access to some nice emojis, for example, and of course also supports the restreamers. The Matcherino currently doesn't seem to be an updated link. If it was, then you could also, of course, donate to the Matcherino to support the players. We're now in about the last 10 lines of level 18 here. And Dan's board is falling apart. He's just getting higher and higher. Needs to burn so much more. Doesn't get the TPs over. And that means that Mikaway gets the second game. It is 1-2-1. Here we can see 500k transition here. Pretty much happening. Tetris and 500k transition. Let's see if Mikaway has heard that she won. Or that they won. I don't want to assume any pronouns and offend anyone accidentally. That's why I try to use they as often as possible. And yeah, 529, 530. Now topping out, knowing that they won. And let's increment the seed once again to BOA and start the next game in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Next game is starting. We see the start on Dan's side is always a bit earlier compared to Mikaway. Mikaway also starting now. Yeah, let's see what Dan can show us in this game. No, already an early shift of the TPs. As X would say. Yeah, reminds me of my match against Lipton. Next Tetris to Mikaway. Getting the T-Tech as well, of course. And one more Tetris here. Dan is Tetris ready soon. Just waiting for the J piece. Also having an L dependency. Overshifts that J piece. Doesn't put the L piece into place. And it looks like this is going to be an early top out for Dan. Dan tops out early at 6k. Which means that Mikaway does take this game as well. I pressed the button. It just didn't... I know that feeling so well. Sometimes when I press my B button, you know, it does the click and everything, but it just doesn't register. And that's off. When you're not prepared for that to happen, yes, that's awful. The, I guess, positive aspect for me is that I'm prepared for my B button to not work nicely. But yeah, unfortunate game here for Dan, which means we're now in a 2-1 for Mikaway. Let's see if we can get the 2-2 in a 3-2-1 Tetris. Dan has started. Mikaway has also started. Perfect. And I accidentally closed my OBS window because I closed a couple of other Twitch windows, and that somehow closed also. There's Tetris here. Should I say my least favorite thing in Tetris? Piece doesn't flip. I don't know if that's the worst thing or if it's a double flip. One of them is definitely the worst though. 30k for Dan, 47k for Mikaway here. And we can see that Mikaway now needs to burn a bit. Whereas Dan so far is clean. Getting the next Tetris. And also dirty Tetris here for Mikaway. 75 against 71. Mikaway doing, you know, yeah, nice dirty Tetris moves here, head and being happy. RXS saying, my controller sometimes double flips and it sucks in 19. Some have managed to avoid it happening in 19. In comp, that's something. I mean, maybe it's the pads. I know that some players like Tetris have never changed their pads, for example, have never had any issues. Whereas other players change their pads kinda regularly. I guess you just have to do what works best for you. The reason why Schnecke doesn't do it, because he said that then he always knows how his pads exactly feel like and that he simply makes less mistakes. Next Tetris to Dan into 189 against now 166 for Mikaway, so we have a small lead here for Dan. And RXS saying, yeah, I'll deal with the pets if I lose match because of it. I mean, if it doesn't impact your comp, I also wouldn't care too much about it. Well, your comp and of course you're fine at playing Tetris. If that's what's frustrating to you, then maybe that's enough of a reason for you to get new pets. At some events, we also have like 3 pets for people to try them out. At least here in Europe, we have them at like some events sometimes. So if you go to Tetris events, well, maybe you can get lucky there. Okay, Dan's bot now having issues. The JPs didn't go fully over. I want to talk about it, but yeah, now. Okay, next burn. Mikaway also topping out at 2-2. Both players topping out at the same point. Dan doing a bit of a raging despite winning the game. 221 and 202 top out, which means you have the 2-2-2. Mikaway saying, ain't no way. Yeah, you. Dan saying, we moved the gamer rage, exactly. That's what you do. You don't know if you've lost, you just do the gamer rage because why not? Okay, Mikaway is ready. Dan is drinking a bit. Of course, we are in the colder season, at least in the upper hemisphere, the northern hemisphere. But still, drinking is important either because of your gamer rage or just to stay hydrated. So, drink whenever you need to drink. The players, the viewers, to the caster who definitely didn't drink enough today, like during the casting. Let's start the next game here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. At most we have 3 more games left, and at minimum we will have 2 more games left, as we are playing a best of 7 here. Because, you know, unlike the normal Champions and Europa League, when you have like the extra league, we don't play for a draw, we play for, we don't have a potential draw, we play for an actual win. There will always be a winner and a loser here. Next, Tetris to Dan into 23 against Mikaway, who has yet to score a single Tetris in this game. Still cleaning this up, should be finished soon hopefully. And Dan already at 47, setting up for the next Tetris. Well, the next Tetris, waiting for the long bar. The long bar does take a bit here, which is nice for Mikaway because that means that they are not falling behind in points too much. Dan just got the next Tetris, and Twiska is saying, wow, cool accelerated burns. Okay, that's the first. I haven't heard accelerated burn before. I know delayed burns, but accelerated? Huh. We'll have to take a look at what that means in the future. Not now in the match, but when I have free time. Next, Tetris to Dan into 124 against 59 here for Mikaway. Next Tetris to Mikaway once again here into 82. Dan still setting up for the next Tetris. Doesn't get the T or S piece that he needs here now. Just putting pieces down, getting a couple of burns here to try to not get the left side too high. And we are now waiting for the next Tetris and longbar here on Dan's side. The points currently are 129 against 104, which means it is neck and neck. Mikaway's board looking, yeah, nice. Dan's board looking nice. And no, Mikaway couldn't use the longbar for Tetris. I understand. Mikaway now closing in once again, but no, next Tetris here to Dan. Dan just pushing ahead more and more. It is now 179 against 112. And Mikaway is finally open again for a couple of pieces. Have to also ask, what does accelerated burn mean? I have absolutely no idea. Maybe Tris can explain it in the chat. That would be appreciated. Okay, Dan here now just scoring points. Mikaway also scoring points. Neither of them finally in a situation where they need to burn a lot. Just clean stacks, which means that I can use this opportunity to also drink a bit myself. Okay, so we can see both players still managed to keep clean despite my lack of commentary here, or maybe because I didn't commentate anything. I know that some players dislike when I commentated, like the matches. Don't ask me why, it's just personal preferences about my semi-professional casting style, most likely. Next set is here to Mikaway into 243 against 262. So Dan is in the lead by only about a Tetris now. Mikaway was able to close the gap nicely here and gets the next Tetris and nearly a simul Tetris as Dan also got one. Dan having a long body points here in column 3 could try to turn that into a center well. Yeah, it looks like Dan is trying to turn that into a center well. Let's see if and when the long bar will appear. Here's the long bar for Dan into a Tetris. Mikaway also getting a Tetris here. Now Dan burning a couple of lines, whereas Mikaway is clean. And this could be a nice chance here for Mikaway to close the gap and maybe even take a bit of a lead, as we have now a Tetris for Mikaway. Dan is still in the cleanup process. It is 320 against 315. Okay, Dan is near the open again, but Mikaway has played a couple of lines less, and if I saw it correctly, a longbow should appear soon for Mikaway here. I'm not fully sure, but it looked like that, or did I make a mistake? Early shift, you have the SPs anyways here on Mikaway's side, and that's a top out. I mean, there was the long, but there was like it should come soon, but no. Early shift has put Mikaway out of the game and has allowed Dan to get a 3-2 now, which means Dan has won this game. And next up we have the match point, one and only match point for Dan. Mikaway wins the next game, we will have a decider. Okay, ready for Mikaway is here. Ready for Dan, most likely we will be here soon as well. Yeah, here's the ready, so let's start. Dan's match point in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Triska explaining, it's what I call when you open up a hole and making a different hole, or overhang instead of looking for a piece that does it cleanly. Oh! Never heard that before, but I guess it makes a bit of sense. Yeah, there's a ton of, like, let's call them special moves that you could give a name to, like for example, instead of a dirty Tetris, you could call it special recovery Tetris instead of, oh, what was the other thing I forgot? There's just some weird official Tetris stuff, ideally the new one being easier to deal with. Yeah, that's what the whole goal should be. Or you're so high that you don't have any other option, of course. It is 54 for Dan against 47 here for Mikaway, so Dan already having a small lead here. Next Tetris going to Dan, Mikaway cleaning up a bit. Is open once again here. Just closed the well once again, is open once again. Yeah, couple of holes here in at the top of the stack here of Mikaway, which means there will be a bit of burning required here to do for Mikaway. Actually quite a lot of burning, and now the SPs missed drop. That's mostly gonna be it for Mikaway. Gets a single here, nothing over to the left side though. Top out for Mikaway, unfortunate top out. And this means that we have a 4-2 for Dan, so congratulations Dan for being able to win against Mikaway here. And of course also GG's Mikaway for showing us what you can do and winning 2 games. The GG's to both of you, and once Dan is finished, yeah, his final game here. Okay, it looks like he just says. We can take a look at the bracket here, and we can see that I need to update the bracket apparently. This one? This one, okay, perfect. And now you can see who made it into Europa League, Champions League and Conference League. I'm not gonna mention every single person here because that's a bit too much. But if they are in the round 2, best of 7 in the blue bracket, and they won, they are in Champions League. If they are in round 2 and lost, or only in round 1 and lost, then they are in Europa League. If you look at the bronze bracket, and they won in round 2 like XS and Dan, they are in Europa League, and everyone else, so Lipton, Mikaway, Winter and so on, are in the DCL Conference League. And yeah, as I said, this wraps up all of the eliminations. We are now at the main bracket. Next, the main bracket being the league phase, where we have all of the, what's it called again, best of 6s and all of that good stuff. So, thanks for watching, I hope you had a great time, thanks for playing, and enjoy whatever time it may be for you. Goodbye. Yeah, I'm just gonna write a random person. In this case it's gonna be Miro Reika, who also played in the pre-eliminations here, so enjoy the stream, goodbye. How? I wanna write them now, yeah. Huh? Huh? Oh, it showed me right now, and now it's doing the countdown, okay, so enjoy the ride.